thing on?
Is this thing on?
It's warm.
No, like I had the weirdest dream. I don't know if it was a nightmare or a dream.
Well, you said it was a dream.
I feel like I call nightmares dreams too.
Okay.
I can't
just
never
scary
really, I can't
dreams.
really
Scary,
ever
yeah.
distinguish because
Negative dreams.
They kind of like seamlessly switch sometimes. Shit could be real lit,
Yeah.
then it go real bad, real quick.
And they get real lit again.
Yeah,
Yeah, and back to back real lit.
Like, Michael B. Jordan invited me to a kickback.
I
I don't know if that was a nightmare or a dream. Like,
can see where this might lead to confusion.
yeah, so I was kind of like, I woke up like, hold up, like.
You know why this might be a nightmare? Because last episode, I fucked with the fact y'all really got into niggas with Chelsea boots.
That's what I'm saying. Did he have on Chelsea boots when
He
he
got on
invited
Chelsea
you?
boots. I feel like in Black Panther when he hit that link and then denim jacket,
You ain't
he might have been in
lying.
Chelsea boots.
Yes. Also, I want to know, will people know that he invited me to the kickback?
And depending on who else is there.
Yeah. No, I'm saying, like, can I come to the kickback and I have to say, oh, Michael B. Jordan invited me?
I was just there.
I don't know. I feel like I done been to enough weird ass like parties like that somebody gonna be like, who invited you?
I would consider it
I don't want to say that.
a nightmare, I guess, man, because I know.
That's just
No.
a weird ass dream.
Yeah, no shorty in there ever wore a
Cause
bonnet.
I'm not
in
gonna
life.
lie, Chelsea boots or not, that nigga invite me, I'm pulling up.
Right, that's what I felt like. Yo,
Yeah, that shit might be lit.
You know, you give it the chance. You give him the chance.
I don't know. It might be a bunch of niggas in J. Crew V-necks. That might scare a nigga a little bit.
Might even
But,
be in
like,
turtlenecks.
Yeah. Oh my god, that's terrible.
Get
I don't
them
know.
vest jackets.
People think I don't
Or
like.
Jamie Foxx could be there.
Ooh,
Yeah,
that's true.
I will go.
You feel me? Like that's
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
that's
like,
the range of this party.
the
It could be-
opportunities are endless.
Cause you're like, yo, you're corny,
Yeah.
but this is great.
Yeah, I might have to hit him with the man. Who gonna be there? I might have to hit him with that.
People think I dislike that nigga. I don't.
Nah, he a cool
I
nigga.
just
You know
think-
what I was finna say? If this was my dream and he invited me to the party, he seemed like a cool enough nigga that he would invite me to the party. I would just try and get cool enough to like persuade him not to wear Chelsea boots.
But like, bro, we can go, but not those shoes. Like,
Not even after that. After that, we're gonna have a great time at the party, and then the next party,
Ah, I got you. Yeah.
I'll see what the drink selection is, and then
it's gonna be lit.
try to get him some bonnet pussy somehow. Like, I know you never had
Big
this
t-shirt
before, bro.
pussy.
Yeah, like
You have to take him somewhere else.
Yeah, I'm gonna say you might have.
So after party.
I done hijacked enough parties to the strip club. Where some people walk into Onyx and like,
Yeah, see,
hey, they got paper, don't even.
that's why I don't go.
As you can
I
see,
do it to myself.
we're back. We're in the dugout, smoked out.
Legendary. It's foggy.
Legendary dugout is smoked out. It's Benny, all capitals.
Oh,
All capitals. And I'm about that capital. Got my brother to my right.
Motastic. That's me. AKA Titty Milanakis.
We in here. We got the surfer on the boards.
As always.
You can feel the waves. Like, I meant that to be like some energy ass quote.
Yeah, that was definitely like that's like a triple entendre.
Right.
I don't know which way to take
waves
that.
in every aspect.
Yeah.
All the waves.
Like I literally felt like I was at the beach for a second.
We got Evil Marty
In the building.
on the lens. Martell Marty
Yes.
on the lenses. Doing a great job as usual. He's always
You
lit.
hear the clicks.
Yeah. All through this bitch. We got special guests. It's Trip. It's Trip.
Oh, we can drink to that.
Let's drink to that. Stop it up for Trip. What are we doing?
We can do both. Can't drink and clap. But I will clap and drink. Oh, yeah.
Like, happy birthday to Nia Long. She turned 50 today.
Really?
And yeah.
That's
And
amazing.
all I thought about is like, okay, I don't want to be a scammer anymore. I want a cougar. And like, or a sugar mama. And Nia fits that bill for me. So it's just like, yo, shoot for the moon, aim for the stars. That's what I'm going for.
You know who I was talking? We was talking. I can't remember who I was talking to. This was like yesterday or the day before. Taraji P. Henson is up there too. She might be like,
I think Gabrielle Union just turned like 40.
Yeah, she knocking on 50,
I think.
Yeah.
She over 45.
I'll be knocking on 50 too.
That's a triple entendre.
That was wild.
That could have went this way, that way, that
I
way.
lost myself with that one. Yeah.
I ain't mad at it.
Hey, mute my mic.
Mute him.
I need PR.
I don't know. Cougar bitches got recipes, so I think I would like to think so.
I don't know, man.
I got my own recipes, but
Yeah, I don't trust recipes.
you don't
Not me.
you don't have a special recipe in your mind that's just yours, or
Oh, I got mine.
that's yeah. Oh, you talking you don't trust other people's recipes?
Like, I don't need it.
That's what
I don't
I just
need
yeah.
it.
Like yo, I got my own.
Yeah.
Got my own shit.
Well, actually, I don't trust people who be like, oh, I can cook, and they be like, all right, cook. And then they break out a recipe. Like, anybody can follow a recipe.
Nah, so this is the thing,
Is that
though.
too
Cooking like science, bro. Like you could
It is.
you could like whip some shit up.
That's what I'm
That
saying.
shit not
Everybody's
gonna come
able
out
to do the same
It's like
thing.
it's about the process and like how you do that process. You feel me? Like
That's what I want to see, some shit that's you can't write in the recipe. That's the magic. However you want to take, that's a triple entendre. I'm on one. I'm on three.
hey, but you know the thing is though, is like back in the day they be like, yo, my granny can cook with like no recipe and shit or whatever. But like how she can cook with no recipe, like it's a lot of grannies out there like I think like my great granny, like my mom, she got like a cookbook, you feel me, with recipes from like if they wanted to, they could tell you a fucking recipe. Like, do they tell everybody your recipe? Hell no. Like,
Yeah, now
that's the
sometimes
point.
it's to the
Like,
point where they know it by heart. You know, so
yeah,
it just
you
look
feel
like
me?
they
Yeah,
freestyle.
Yeah,
But like,
for sure.
shit, make something out of nothing. That's what I want to see.
You want
That
to
is
make
impressive.
it look good.
Yeah, yeah.
Dress it up and make it real for me.
Thank you.
So basically, people who follow recipes don't take their Oreos apart when they eat them. That's what I'm assuming.
Nope.
they're,
The regular.
they're in that category.
Those people.
Yeah, I don't
They
think I
sleep in
don't think I
socks.
have like a recipe like physical like that I could read. Everything I know is up here in my mind. Like
Oh, for sure. Every time I done cook, it's like freestyle.
yeah, like I go trial and error and make something like oh shit, tastes
Yeah.
great, and then I remember how I did it because it tasted so good.
I feel like I got something that I have a recipe for, but it's like a specific, like, food. When I think of it, I'll say. It might be a minute.
Because I always remember seasonings, because that's like the best part. Like, you know, that's the flavor for me. Well,
That's why I don't bake.
Crucial.
Oh,
I don't bake.
bacon.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't bake at all.
Yeah.
I'm not
That's
good at that shit at
too
all.
much science for me.
Yeah.
I was gonna say that's all science.
Yeah, that's why I like cook. I love food and I love science. Like cooking was perfect for me. Like, and then I'm not about to nerd out on food, but I could, you know. That's why I'm getting on Clubhouse.
Nah, come to this room. You won't need recipes at all.
Nah.
Drew, you still at the? I forgot which spot you at with the DJing.
Oh, I'm at Ember right now. Shout out to all my Ember people. I've been up there for a year now, actually, which is crazy. But niggas did not start out DJing up there, but now we in there.
Yeah, I never been to Ember. Is hookah there?
No.
Oh no hookah. No.
Oh, good job.
Do you have a specific night that you like? set, or you
So
just like
before everything went left, I was like, everybody had their own night. My night was Thursdays, trip Thursdays, but right now we definitely just up there Saturdays and Sundays. But everybody like, yo, where you DJ at? Like, I'm really DJ. Like, if you book me and paying, like, we pulling up. You feel me? Like,
Right.
if it's something I feel like I don't never really like go out of my way to like. That's one thing. Like, it's always like chase a bag, but don't never like get out of character for no bag.
it's gotta
So
fit.
yeah, you know. So like, definitely, like, if it's some shit that I like fuck with and you paying, we definitely in there. But yeah, Ember's definitely home. Yeah, the grind been real. Y'all been grinding like crazy.
Oh, I might check you guys out since you ain't got hookah. So that means that's
Man,
a good thing
yeah,
for me
you
to
know,
do.
like, all right,
Now
like,
a lot of clowns.
Yeah, because yeah.
like, I don't want to be like nothing against hookah, but,
I will.
but
It's just
man,
Reggie with flavor. That's all it is.
Yeah, you give yourself a headache.
I've never done hookah in my life, and I've been around people that have invited me to places that I did not know hookah was going to be there. I would have been like, no, I'm not coming through. But then they're at the table. Hookah is basically Axe body spray to me, bro. Like, y'all ain't
yeah,
hella
man.
Axe
I've been
body
a lot
spray,
of
bro.
places, and like the post hookah bar smell is one of the worst, easily. That's
Blueberry must. That's
Yeah.
right.
Yeah,
Because don't that
so-
shit give you gas?
I don't know. I ain't did it.
Because like
enough.
tobacco, yeah, like
I feel like you just
I would imagine
huffing and puffing on so much bullshit that like your body just
You
probably
get
just,
lost.
Like,
You just
yeah,
like, what the fuck am I even
extra
doing?
flatulent. You
me
don't
take
even
a
know what you
picture.
do. Like,
Yeah, that shit is awful.
yeah, we don't. Yeah, no hookah. So if you don't like hookah, we are hookah free.
just had that outside the
place to
door.
be.
Hookah free.
Don't let peer pressure take over.
Yeah, man. Like
Be
that's
better
it.
than me.
You know, do what you want to do.
You fuck with the club life for real, or like you just like I'm just DJ just doing my job.
Nah, so I ain't even gonna lie to you. So like it's weird. Like I'm real. Everybody be like, what's that word? Introverted or whatever. Like it's not even like I've been a party kid since forever. Like I used to go back home to Chicago, like in the summertime and shit. And like me and my cousin, me and her, we would like sneak out and go to like niggas have probably heard like juke jams and shit.
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
that's like.
yeah.
Like that's why,
Okay.
like
Get
that's why,
busy.
like moving out here, like I didn't really like run into a whole lot of house parties. Or if you did, like
They weren't
motherfuckers just standing around and shit. I'm
Yeah.
talking about like yo, the shit was like real,
so sad.
like real movie. Like you feel me? Like everybody's like
Trying
so
to be
like
cool and
man,
shit.
we like
Yeah.
13, 14, middle school. Like everybody like dressing up. Like it was crazy because we like were in the burbs at this time. Like out like. Was like Joliet, which is like on the edge, like you got to drive like 30, 40 minutes outside of Chicago, but it was kind of like here where a lot of the enough shit happened in the city to where people like scrape their shit up, or like if you like already had shit together, like you just mobbed out to the county because it was like shit's nice. It was supposed to be quieter and shit, but like eventually like enough shit like moved out there like that. It felt like some city shit. So you know, like it'd be the little cliques pulling up. It'd be like Chicago is like way more like I know it's like different like ethnicities and shit in St. Louis, but Chicago is like so more like diverse that you know like it'd be like the Spanish girls pulling up like they all got matching outfits on and shit. Like it's like it was so many different people. Like it was so much fun, and like I said, I moved out here. I'm like damn, but I've been a party kid for a minute, so it's kind of like it's almost like this.
Right, like yo, what the fuck?
I don't, you know what? Like I don't want to say.
Was it Spanish girls at
I don't want to be like y'all missed out, but like every time I like tell people that they be like, yo, what? I'm like, yo, like we in somebody mama basement, they upstairs, like mama, you know, facilitating the whole shit, like. It's so many kids in the basement, the wall sweating. I'm talking about it's like a real sound system. Everybody dancing. I'm not talking about like just the girls or like the dancing ass niggas that you like that you like see out at the clubs now. Like I'm talking about like everybody like pulled up to like have fun, and like that's why like that's kind of like what like got me sucked into the shit. Like I'd always been into music for like since birth, but. Definitely juke jams. That was like my first introduction to partying and shit.
Yeah.
And then, you know, a house party. I'd like
Somebody please invite me to a juke jam.
like through house parties and shit in high school. That shit like it's so funny because I don't run into a lot of people from like high school and shit still just because like I went to high school like over in like Southern Illinois, Collinsville, like. Real, like, people know about it, but it's, like, mad small and shit, but it's super funny. Like, I'll run into motherfuckers that I, like, fucked with back then, and they be like, they'll see me, like, DJing and shit now, and they be like, yo, I never thought, but it just makes so much sense, nigga. Like, your shit used to be so yanking, like, bro, like, I don't know how. I don't know if my mom and them ever see this shit. Like, I know eventually, they eventually, found out. But I'm talking about, it'd be, 150 people in that bitch. Like, I'm talking about, I remember one time I, walked outside. There's, cars up and down the hole. I'm like, bro, what the fuck? I'm, looking. I'm like, my neighbors ain't called the police yet.
Hey, look, it must be nice. Boy, we get 10 people over this bitch. They like, woo!
I don't know who the fuck be looking out for the kid, but they
That's
be
what's
looking
up,
out.
though.
But yeah, so niggas been just a little party animal since forever.
Hey, little Papa.
I haven't felt that feeling in a while.
Hey, you
Where
know
it's
what?
just a bunch of just people and people, everybody dancing.
Hey, we might have to make that happen.
Yeah,
Yeah, I don't know what it'll take. Every once in a while, we'll get the right night at the club, everybody, my niggas Murph and Nabs that, I DJ with up at Amber, we kill it, 90% of the time, but,
Is that who went on after you last Sunday?
No, who went on after me last Sunday? Nabs might have went on after me last Sunday.
They was nice, too.
I mean,
Said the whole lot.
We all, I'm not gonna lie.
That was my first time checking Ember out.
That be the thing, man. People be like, yo, you don't ever get tired of I'm like, it's just if you doing what you supposed to be doing up there, that shit don't ever really get old. I feel like you gotta, I forget his last name, but he's a famous house DJ, Carl. If you listen to this, it's Carl King, Carl something. I forget what his name is. That nigga DJ too. He was 50. He had a residency somewhere overseas, just crazy ass club. He his last set, that nigga DJ'd for 12 hours straight. And I watched, it was funny. I watched that documentary after New Year's Eve, and I was like, nigga, I fuck with it. I felt that because New Year's Eve, it wasn't 12 hours straight, but I counted. It was maybe it was 8 hours of playing. I was I went somewhere, played, went somewhere else, played, went back, played some more. Niggas played until well into the New Year.
Damn,
that's crazy.
That shit was lit. Yeah, bro.
we need to get back to that.
Yeah, bro. But yeah, that's what I was gonna say. The dancing and shit, bro. Everyone, when we doing what the fuck we supposed to be doing the right way, motherfuckers is dancing. It might not be what I don't even know what niggas consider dancing. I feel as long as you moving, that's what I want to see. I hate when I look out. And motherfuckers, I know motherfuckers fuck with the song, you feel me? But niggas just don't move. That's St. Louis' favorite thing is to just not move.
Too cool.
But niggas is always too cool to move. But when you doing shit the right way, you get the motherfuckers moving.
Just look over there, nigga just standing YG.
you know what I see a lot too is motherfuckers be scared to be the first motherfucker moving.
Yep.
That's always.
Always.
Yeah.
Instead of you feeling this.
Man,
You know it's in you. It's spiritual damn near.
We all want to do the same
Jig a little
thing.
bit.
Let's get to it.
Right. You don't
Wasting
even
time.
You just two-step. Just a little two-step. Get
Man,
you going.
that's
That's
it.
it. Just do your shit.
We out here.
That-
move.
Because being from St. Louis, we've been to too many parties like that where it's just kind of damn, this party ain't trash because you got the people here.
And the
We're
music.
having a great time.
Yeah, and
we
the DJ
mingling.
killing it.
Yeah, the music is great.
But y'all just
The right chicks is here.
The
My
drinks.
niggas is here. The drinks is on par. So you
disrespecting the
standards.
DJ at that point, especially the DJ
Yeah.
going off.
That's-
The DJ
Exactly.
is
that's
going
like-
off.
it's a
they doing something wrong.
I hit the mic and shit.
Oh, you
It's
said-
All the time.
it's yeah, man. Don't just move.
Have fun, man.
It's a courtesy thing.
Nigga, give me some Jameson and I'm out there. I don't give a fuck.
All
That'd
the
be the
time.
thing too. It's crazy. Working in the club industry and shit. All my DJ homies that's been around. Been traveling, having gigs and shit, playing clubs in different cities and shit. They'll tell you yo, the club owner wants you to what they call that shit, shuffle the bar. like they want motherfuckers to go drink. So like that's kind of like that's like part of the night. You feel me? Like
so like they want you to have like a down period. So like
in a way, like
drink?
you feel me? Like yeah, you gotta flow it. Like because if you go too crazy, because they like that's the thing, which is like it kind of fucked me up. Like they like yo. You need to like you need a period for motherfuckers to go to the bar. They like motherfuckers don't want to leave the dance floor. I'm just like,
ain't my fault.
I'm like, ain't that what I'm supposed to do?
Even
like,
if they don't,
but like,
them niggas will make it to the bar.
Yeah,
the
you
bar's
feel me?
the bar.
Like that's what I ain't even
gotta
gonna lie.
go back
Like,
to the
the,
bar.
like the numbers don't lie. It's been a few places where like my nights they'll be like, man, tonight was like crazy. Like it'd be like the bar manager or some shit like talking like numbers wise, and they'd be like, I don't know what the difference was. You know, like that'd be the first night. And like nigga, like the second, third, yeah. Like, yeah, nigga, like, come on, bro. Like, stop fucking playing with me. Like, it's right there. Like, it's obvious. Like, that shit, like, so that'd be the thing. Like, yeah, you want me to shuffle it, but if the shit is just lit, like, nigga, it's like, motherfuckers is gone. Have fun. Like, that's just, like, the thing. So, it's crazy, like, the different aspects of that shit. Because there's so many different, like, things to DJing. It's crazy. Like, I feel like it's like, I don't want to be like everybody be like they a DJ, but or maybe it's one of them things like you know when like you like your homie get a car and then you see that car everywhere. It's like yeah, homie become a DJ or like when I became a DJ, it's just like oh I'm a DJ. I'm like damn like okay, but everybody is like doing it like a different kind of way. It's not like not everybody is like in that club lane. You got motherfuckers that specifically just like remix shit that's like that crazy cool ass SoundCloud shit where motherfuckers like make a beat at home and then put the vocals or some other shit. Like that's like now nigga you kinda like I don't wanna be like you playing yourself because DJing is like that shit takes skill, but like nigga that's producing in my eyes, you feel me? So like that's another thing too when I became a DJ, a lot of people like, oh, you ever gonna produce? Because, like, honestly, a lot of good DJs, like, you just, like, got that ear. So, a lot of people be waiting for you to, like, take that step and go produce. Or, like, when a DJ do go start producing, like, it's never really, like, a big shot. Like, my homie, like, Mark that I just mentioned earlier that I DJ with up at Ember. He, crazy good electronic DJ, just good DJ overall, but he is working on electronic project. You know, like electronic music, it's not really like if it's words. The thing I like about a lot of electronic music is that they'll sample like a already fire song. Like they'll take like some already fire vocals or some shit and like go like and make like again like produce a crazy like beat for that shit. Make a whole song out of it, and so like that's like his thing is like he been like producing music now, and it's not that big of a shock because nigga's a good DJ, got a good ear. So like I've been fiddling with it, but I'm like eventually I make that jump. I just don't know when. I got like other shit that I want to do. That'll always be there.
I mean, last time I've been to a club or heard electronic music when we went to Vegas. And
Vegas.
Blaze?
Yeah, like after Just Blaze was done, it was just electronic out, and I was just like, yo, I feel so lost.
What did Just Blaze?
But it was still Just Blaze.
Oh, he played his. Oh yeah.
All that shit
Just Blaze played his classics for the niggas first.
Yeah.
Then he just went into like full electronic.
That's why that nigga in Vegas. I like. That's why I asked that. I'm like, yo, like I wonder if like they really like if the vibe completely changed
adapts,
like that, if it
to
was
it.
like a completely different DJ, but like no, like that was another thing too, talking about like DJing in a club.
Just a bunch of Italian people
like,
dancing crazy.
That sound like Vegas.
Yeah. I saw some cocaine,
Hey, you know what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas.
Yeah, I was like, yo, like.
That's the.
I'm sorry. I'm very fascinated by cocaine, though.
You want to talk about club life, man? Like that's like you gonna see some shit. You gonna see some shit. You gonna hear some shit.
Yeah.
It be shit I never expected to have it happen. Like,
you know what? Like so that's the thing. Like a lot of the shit in like pop culture, like movies and TV, like the shit just seemed mad regular. But you know, going about like, you know, normal like young nigga life, like growing up, like depending on where you at, like if you like outside in the right neighborhoods, like niggas definitely might be peddling some shit that like, you know, we like, whoa, like some, you know, some hard shit. But it's like that whole other side to where, you know, you got the businessmen and like the entrepreneurs and shit, like motherfuckers that put on crazy good faces and clean up super well and like do crazy good shit. You be like, damn, and you see them outside, you be like, but then it's just like talking about the club is just like this crazy ass mutual understanding that like if you outside in that environment, like you talk about what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. It's just like when you walk in the club, like it's a free for all. So like I said, you gonna see some shit.
Man, the first time I got offered that shit, I was out in LA, and I was just like, nah, nigga, like you crack here, we don't do that. Like where I'm from, like dog, we don't do that. Like what do you want? And I just look around the whole VIP and everybody's doing this shit.
You know what's crazy is
nervous.
I was, nigga. Like, I was super paranoid.
Wait for the police to jump out or some shit.
Like, right. Oh, what the fuck? They coming for me first. There's a regular looking nigga right here. Like,
nah, so,
like the plug.
What was that? I was watching man, I wish one of the streaming services would, like, really jump on the rights for that shit or whatever. But, a lot of the old, like blaxploitation movies and shit, like, they do a good job of depicting, like, so that shit was like a vanity drug back then.
Right.
Like,
Rich man.
I mean, it still kind of is. Like I said, like you got like you gonna see quacked out like niggas that like you need to go get your shit together. You shouldn't even really be outside. But like it still is like
What is you doing?
Like I say, being outside like that shit is for the affluent.
yeah.
You feel me? So, but the old movies like that, like. You look around a club, it be a black club, you feel me? It's disco and Afro heaven, you feel me? But if you put like the tables is made out of glass and shit, like motherfucker,
Mirrors and shit.
What was that?
The Get Down?
Yeah,
that dude was listening to Curtis Mayfield. He had that bump. Trying to get over.
Yeah, bro, like that's
Making it look all normal and shit.
They made the shit look so gangster. It's so cool.
Like that's the fucked up part about it is like that's just how it was. But like before that, it was heroin.
Yeah. Especially with the
So
wars.
it's like, I'd rather y'all be
Yeah.
doing coke than heroin. So it's like, all right.
Man, you do whatever you want to do as long as you got your shit together and you not out here clapped out.
Controlling you.
I'm gonna do it one day, but I don't know how.
Maybe at the party with what's that nigga name?
Michael B. Jordan?
Yeah.
That'll be the perfect place to do it.
That's probably how he
That's
talked to
Hollywood.
him to do it. I did the boat first.
Did the bump. Hey, I got a party going on later on.
Come on, you like, let's go. Fucking
Man,
go.
he done caught you slipping. Now you outside.
Might be just turn his head to you. Now you outside.
Like
Lock the
Wayne
doors.
Brady.
Yeah. Slap a bitch.
Dog.
Got you doing questionable things, felonious things.
Right, I'm sorry you guys for my obsession with cocaine. It's just such a fascinating drug to be, man.
It's an interesting subject.
Because like the affluence he was talking about, and like the
Drugs
vanity.
drugs
I like to
are-
see the different perspective on it.
Yeah, like I never did it before. So, and I haven't seen nobody like, yo, that motherfucker is strung out on cocaine. But when I usually hear somebody like that, they rich as fuck. I like, yo, you really blew through 200 mil? Okay.
Mike Tyson.
That's interesting.
Mike Tyson.
Mike Tyson, yeah. I just seen an interview of him talking about that. Where he's like, no, I was coked out all the time.
I can't believe that.
Like,
But that was like at that time, like.
I can't.
yeah.
But I mean, but
everybody.
I was gonna say at that time, but like drug culture has been drug culture for so long that like I be seeing motherfuckers on Twitter on a regular basis joking about Chris Brown and how he like that nigga like full like he fucking Bobby Brown Jr.
Right.
Yeah.
Like motherfuckers like yo Chris
Making
Brown,
jokes
Chris
about
Brown. Like I done like Hollywood crazy, bro. Like I done like heard some stories. Like I got like homies that be out there and like they'll come back and like tell me like their adventures in Hollywood and shit. I'm like, you with who? Doing what?
You mean
And it's like, and I like you, like the shit. sounds so outlandish, but after you hear 2-3 stories, you're like, that's just really how that shit is.
Right.
Because
Because like, if you ever been to like any like an actual like a party, like not in like a club setting, but it's somebody house like, yo, we run this house out in Beverly Hills somewhere, we throwing this party, like, and you'll go there.
or you can do coke and peace.
Yeah, like be totally fine, right? No judgment.
No
like
cops.
I met like some of the weirdest white people in Hollywood, where like I'll be in this party, right, and then I'll be like, I'm just a regular nigga from St. Louis, so I'm like, yeah, man, this is my job, this is what I do back home. Oh yeah, man, I have a dog walking business. I'm always off a perk. Like, you know, like, what the fuck, dog? Like,
That's so true, though.
like, I'm like, dog, how are you doing this? And then, yeah, man, we brought in, almost like 20 grand last month, man. They're like,
Man,
the
they make
fuck?
it happen, bro.
Yes, nigga, it'd be the most simple job.
Yeah.
And just like, how?
Make waffles.
And you know another crazy aspect about like the club life is just like, bro, I go on and on about this shit, but people be like, oh, why you always like? So one thing, like, I don't really always have this debate because like most of the people I fuck with like work in the industry or like be outside enough that they understand. But one, if I'm outside, it's always a possibility that like I'm gonna make some money. You feel me? Or like make money right then, or like make money tomorrow, or like the next week. Like, it's like you never know who you run into. Like, I run into like some of the craziest people. Like, I be trying not to think about it, but this year was finna be so fucking nuts. Had coronavirus not came through and shit on everything, but like going out, you'll never know who you'll run into. You'll never know. And like motherfuckers, like honestly, like being a decent person, like all you gotta do is just like, you know what, like just be you. Never know who you gonna run into. Yeah, motherfucker. It be a motherfucker that got $1 million dog walking business that's just like looking to like invest into some shit that they think is interesting, and you just so happen to like be the motherfucker that they like think is doing an interesting thing, and like now you done caught a fucking bag. You feel me? Or like it's just like so.
That's
so like that whole that whole aspect of it is like if you could go out and not completely get wrapped up in all the bullshit and like still have fun and make some shit happen, like that shit is completely worth it. You'll make a killing.
And the whole time you're just being you. That's the best part.
Man,
that's the
like,
best part of it.
I get to ask that question a lot about like motherfuckers that's just kind of like them watch me like go from just like being a nigga with the cool sneakers, like selling like cool t-shirts and shit, to like making shit shake for like myself and like with my homies and shit, and like doing like what I think is cool shit and what a lot of other people think is cool shit. They be like, yo, like what's the fucking like is it any what's that? I love movie references. Fucking Tropic Thunder. He's like, any tips? Like motherfuckers always like, yo, any tips? I'm like, honestly, do you? Be you. If that don't really work for you, I don't really know what to say.
That's the number one rule. It's right there.
But yeah, just be you, and then being in the right place at the right time. Like that's not really anything you can like teach or coach or like explain, but just like find like that, like I don't know how, but you'll find the area that's like suitable for you.
Right.
Like
I fit in this
where
space.
You find your lane.
Like that was a big part of like coming up, and a lot of this shit was just like, you know, like being presented a lot of different lanes and kind of just like bouncing between, not even necessarily bouncing between a bunch of different shit, but like it was kind of just like one big ass lane, and you kind of just like seeing where you get traction at, and then like if that's where you got traction at, it was just like boom, we off. And that's kind of like what I did with a lot of this shit. Like I say, it's being yourself and sticking to it. That time and shit though, like that's the universe, that's God.
Yeah,
it's just like
timing is everything.
Man,
it's all nature.
Yeah, that's man. That shit in the stars.
Yeah, we gonna smoke.
Moon, stars, and quasars.
Oh, smoke break here.
Cause niggas is high.
Oh shit.
That's a great thing.
Numbers.
All right. Back.
To crack.
Titties!
Yes. That nigga, he been up.
Titties.
We got so lost in cocaine clubs and Michael B. Jordan parties.
Man, that's a deep rabbit
But
hole.
all of those roads lead to titties.
Titties.
Yeah.
Titties are all
We
on
just
places.
forgot to get to the end of the road.
Yeah.
Let's get to the areolas.
That was like the not to get back in too deep into the club, but
This is what you do, dog.
Man, like
This is what you do.
Yeah. Like, it's so funny the term club kid. If you Google that shit and see what like the '90s club kid looked like, that shit was lit. I wish I could have like went to some of them crazy ass fucking '90s club parties, but
Man, me too.
But yeah, when I knew I really liked titties, I saw my first pair of titties in a club.
Wow. What did that do for you that night? How did the rest of the night go?
Can we explain
The rest
how,
of
too?
Yeah,
How?
how to? Yeah.
She just was like, "Are you DJ Trip?" I'm like, "Yeah." She was just like, I can't remember if her friend was like signing her titties or if she was like, "Can you sign my titties?" I was just like, "Of course." And my home and I didn't take a picture with her. I kept it like I didn't know like what her situation was. So like I was like it's on video somewhere like deep in the Instagram archives. But it was like I was about to go back on. My homegirl Gina, shout out to Gina. She was just I'm like, "Gina, go give me a marker." She like ran to the bar like got one of the bottle girls. We got to the bottle girls to give her a Sharpie, and she's like, "Let me go get her." And she like went got her. She was like, "All right, boom." Like, yeah, and then I seen her, you talk about after parties, and I seen her at the after party later. She was like, "You saw her titties?" I was like, "Yeah." And she's like, she boom, whipped that bitch out, and it's still there.
That was me.
Shout out to you, yeah.
Oh, I remember that.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. I can't wait to get to like festivals and shit. Really wild out, have some fun.
Cause then you'll be signing sweaty titties.
Yeah, you know, or like
bunch of
fucking, they be off all kind of concoctions and shit. Go have fun one day. Go kill a set, then go in the crowd and wild out.
Damn, I grew up a club kid. Cause club kid, we got St. Louis, we got used
What was
to
your
that
first club?
Ooh.
Saints.
The Saints.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a club. That's a club.
Yeah,
That shit was wild. If you think about
Yeah,
it.
we shouldn't have been doing that shit at that age. At all.
Why did our parents agree to that?
Yeah,
Or
so
did
the
they?
Saints, the Palace, and cause
That's about, I was talking about juke joints. That's about the St. Louis juke joint.
Yeah, that's
basically-
about as juke.
and back then it was never no time at Saints when we was kids where people was just standing around like
Nah,
everybody.
And
bro.
we
was
didn't
there.
skate.
Yeah.
We was not
Like
fucking
even like
skating.
even now that I think about being kids, like I went to fucking Kirby for middle school. I don't know, motherfuckers like I don't know.
9 out of 10 St. Louis niggas.
That's an East.
Yeah.
ain't it?
Hey, you like,
Hazelwood.
Yeah, so like that's the thing. Like I've been here for hella, so
Yeah,
I
but
like
say
I don't
you
know
still
like
made the
I
cut.
don't know who all know what or whatever, but like yeah, like niggas with the Kirby for middle school.
so you was going to like dirt dances and shit.
Yeah, all that shit used
Yeah.
to.
Yeah.
We want to talk about
Y'all
that.
not
Like
giving a fuck.
they used to fit like fulfill my void of like that time I wasn't in Chicago for the summer. Like man, like 6th, 7th, 8th grade dance, the dare dance, like the spring fling. I ain't never go to no winter formals. Nigga, like shit be cold up inside.
Yeah, I never read shit like that.
I think that might be a white school thing too.
Yeah.
Niggas be in the house.
Yeah, cause they be dressing up and shit for that.
The winter ball.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, niggas ain't had no ball.
My nigga,
That's for schools with hockey
When is
teams.
dinner? Right, yeah.
a lot of
Wait, no,
condoms around.
Wait on Thanksgiving. Leave me
Connors
alone.
and Evans.
Ethan Hofstetter. He has a wicked slap shot, dude.
Hockey.
Name's Lowski.
Them niggas chewing on, having chewing tobacco already.
Yeah,
Fucking
shout out to my hockey
15.
niggas, man. Talk about, I was
Lung
like,
cancer.
man, like, speaking of Kirby, to jump from fucking going to Kirby and then moving to Southern Illinois to go to fucking Collinsville High School. Oh my God, you want to talk about a shock. A shock. I'm like, man, what the fuck? Like, niggas just looking at me like, nigga, what? And I'm like, bro, like, where I just came from, I was like, Like, I used to be...
I just came from the dare dance,
Yeah,
nigga.
like-
When you got there, did you look at the black people like, bro, you're not even like, you don't even know how much blacker you could be.
So,
Or like, bro, don't talk to me like
man,
that. You
so
don't
no,
know
like
how
that
black
was
I
not
am.
like that was a weird thing though, cause I was expecting that when I got over there because, like my peoples, they had moved us over there in the summertime, so they had moved us from over in North County where like they moved, like we had moved down from Chicago over here. They thought it was gonna be lit, you know, real nice and shit. It started off nice, but like it progressively, like I don't really like. I was driving through like Spanish Lake and shit the other day. Niggas was flying boxes all through that motherfucker. The expired temp tag, slap 5. I'm like, oh, this shit is really real right now.
Oh, yeah.
When we was like, when I was like was coming up over there, like shit was like, it was always some shit happening, but I ain't like I said, it was not like that, but it had started getting like that. And I was, you know, I just like to be in the mix. I ain't even gonna lie to nobody. I was a good kid. I loved my niggas was always in the mix, so I love to stay where my niggas was at. So I used to once in a while get caught up in some shit. And that was enough. I got caught up in enough shit that they was like, yeah, no sir. Your ass over here. We went to, went over there. And neighborhood nice as fucking shit. Still stay over there. I just moved back like last year sometime. But moved over there and shit. Hey man, funny you talk about Connors, nigga. Like we moved over there. My little nigga next door to me, his name was Connor. And then like I just started making all white friends and shit. You feel me? Like it's like he's like I'm like nigga. We go from like over there like now. Like shit, niggas on a cul-de-sac and shit. Like niggas like hear crickets. It's like this shit is like a whole different. Like I'm like yo, like and that was the thing though, cause we had like it had been all big city, with like up until like moving to North County, and then North County was still like every once in a while, like I say, it'd be some more rah shit. But then like going over there, like it ain't shit. Like it's like what the fuck? But like I said, you know, meeting the Connors, and then like my best friend throughout high school, my nigga Grant, and then like bro, like I said, I'm just like meeting all these white kids and shit, and they're like, yo, like I think it was like it's one of the places where I think there's like 3 black families in the neighborhood or some shit. So they like a lot of them my first white friend, and like for a lot of them like I'm like one of their first like real black friends, like outside of like the motherfuckers that's in their classroom and shit. So it was like a shock or whatever. But then I finally got to school, and you know get to like meet motherfuckers in my classes and shit. Like I'm going to basketball open gyms and shit, because niggas was definitely finna hoop. Like I don't know where I was at. Like,
Hoop is life.
Yeah, like ball is life. Like that was definitely my thing. So niggas was like finally meeting motherfuckers that way. And then the crazy thing is like even though I think this is just everywhere in America, probably except like Montana and Idaho, but it's like it's like a hood area everywhere. You feel me? Like it's black. Like you feel me? It's just like that's just what it is. Like I done been in the middle of nowhere and like ran into hood niggas. You feel me? Like I've been on road trips. I'm like, damn, like nigga, what the fuck? Like
where Oklahoma?
no shit. Like nigga, like you got any gas? Like I'm like, bro, like I'm trying not to like I'm nigga making sure I don't have no gas. Like nigga, we're in Oklahoma. No, I don't have no gas, bro. Yeah,
I don't have any gas.
Cop.
Yeah.
What you doing around this time, boy?
Yeah. You lost?
You lost, boy?
Yeah. You know, it's a sundown town.
I just need some premium unleaded. I'm out of here, sir.
Get the fuck out of Dodge.
Right.
But nah, so like niggas got over there and like got to school and shit. I'm like, okay, so like this is where the niggas is at. You know? So like I'm like when I'm like not with my white friends, I'm like, yo, like I'm in like, so that was the thing too. I was in a lot of shop classes. I was just like, I remember moving over there and having to sign up for classes and shit. And they were like, I was like sitting in the counselor's office. I was like low key kind of pissed to even be over there. I'm like, man, what the fuck? Like,
how did I end up here?
Man, and he's like, what do you want to take? And I'm like, I'm gonna read the fine print ass niggas. So I'm like filling out for classes and shit. and they like you could take a foreign language or like these elective classes, and niggas like everybody thought you had to take a foreign language. I'm like, you niggas is dumb. Like you didn't read like the next 2 bars of the sentence. Like, I don't even know how you break a fucking sentence down, nigga. But we gonna break it down like that, nigga.
Right.
The next 2 bars say, and you can take electives. So I was just like, yo, I'm a shop class it out because I was like already into that shit. And, like was taking it in middle school, so I just like shop like welding class, machine shop, wood shop. So like when I wasn't like hooping or like with my niggas, like I'm with like the Carhartt jackets, like Red Wing boots.
So you a Bob the Builder ass nigga.
Yeah, that's my
Hey, gang. Same here.
Yeah,
Love
that's
working
my
with my
shit,
hands.
yeah, bro. So niggas got out there. That's where that weird ass dynamic came from. Where like I was like already into a lot of that shit, but like that switch from like middle school, like that drastic ass switch, like really like put emphasis on like not to even really be like put emphasis on my blackness, but like everything that I had soaked up until like that transfer, I just like held on to for dear life, and like everything, like I just like would not let go of like what the fuck I knew, you feel me? Like I was like I'm a sponge, like so if I find some shit like interesting, like I'm gonna like learn as much as I can about it. So like I'm definitely like learning about like other shit that I thought was interesting, like fucking with like my white friends or whatever, but everything I'm like, yo, like I'm still like they like, yo, what the fuck? Like they don't know what the fuck I'm like doing when I'm not with them, but like when I'm with them it's still like I'm still like showing them shit that like I'm like discovering on my own, like still like I still hanging on to the shit that I know, and I'm like, yo, like I got like, yo, they like, what the fuck is this? I'm like, yo, like I'm like explaining it to them, and like that was a cool thing. Like they was like my homies like was really appreciative of like the knowledge that I dropped. Like I don't know if I know probably like if you're a real nigga, you got that one white friend that was appreciative of like the knowledge that you gave them, like on insight.
They knew it was exclusive.
Yeah,
right.
you feel me? Like
supposed to be
this is what I signed up for.
So like I
supposed to be
definitely.
black.
So this is as close as you gonna get. So like they definitely like I had a lot of homies that like really was like, yo, so they would like take me everywhere. So I ended up like that's like I was really into like cars and like motorcycles and like dirt bikes and shit. So like they'd be like, yo, we going to the track, like come with me. So I'm like, all right, that's like
we got a cool friend.
Yeah, we going riding, like come with me. So I'm like, niggas like, where was you at? I'm like, yo, I'm like riding dirt bikes and shit. Riding dirt bikes. I'm like, yo, like, but like this area was like small enough where I feel like it's in trickle down now, just for like how the simple fact of like how popping like DC and Baltimore is and shit, like New York is, like some motherfuckers is like, oh, like niggas really like niggas riding dirt bikes. I'm like, bro, like did y'all not watch DMX and them? Like,
right. Rough Riders.
Like that shit. Like I seen that video one time and it was a rap.
Yeah. Like, did y'all not watch Biker Boys?
Yeah, like that shit was a fucking classic. So like that was like that's what I'm saying. Like niggas was like already knew it was shit. Like that was another thing too that I always kind of like knew growing up and like traveling the world and like seeing different shit is that you don't have to put like a color barrier on anything. Like nigga, if you think that shit cool, like that shit cool. Like that was like anime growing up and shit. Like I see y'all, like I know some of y'all fuck with that shit. I know you fuck with it. Like even in like elementary school and shit, it was like real. Like it was probably like one kid in every class. That like maybe like two. It was like 2 to 3 kids in every class, not counting myself. You feel me? Like the shonen jumps and like you feel me? Like keeping up with Dragon Ball or whatever, and like
definitely
like I feel like that shit, like shout out to the internet, because like the internet I feel like showed a lot of motherfuckers that like, yo, you
like me.
It's other people out there like
you
just
feel me? So like
it's like church.
Yeah. Church, yeah, man.
What's like church?
When you get to the point of church where they tell you like oh, just
ain't been
spill
in
your
church in so
secrets.
long. I'm like,
Just say something. Like then you be like, oh,
hey,
Your testimony.
your testimony.
Hey,
So
that's
people
crazy.
can.
Talk about church. I ran into a motherfucker in a club from like church, and I'm like, whoa. Like, you went to church. But I'm like, nigga, I went to church too. So it's like, I'm like, I see. I'm like, damn.
But,
Like,
like, when
but
you-
that's a good point, though.
Yeah,
like,
because they try to get
yeah.
you to be like, oh, talk. Talk to other people. There's somebody else. Basically, church try to get you to express that there's somebody else going.
They
through.
always try to get people to meet each other.
Yeah, but like there's somebody else that has the same problem as you.
Mm-hmm.
Y'all can help each other through that problem.
Yeah, really? These niggas out here wilding like me?
Yeah.
My God.
Now,
It's insane.
were you were born in Chicago?
No, so, I was born in Turkey.
Okay.
Yeah, Turkey. Shout out to Turkey.
How you end up?
Wasn't even close.
So,
No word. No word. No juke jams and turkey going
So
on.
like that's the thing. Like I always say Chicago is like home because that was like home base in the United States for me first. Like I didn't live.
That's
in,
where you
like,
first
yeah,
felt.
You feel me? Like
Okay.
like I didn't live in St. Louis first. Like I got here. Like that was like St. Louis was second.
Yeah.
But I was born in Turkey. Like my dad played professional basketball overseas.
Okay.
So
That I thought it was like I'm about to say military. Like it's usually
literally
military.
took the words right out of my
Yeah.
mouth. A lot of people they the first second like usually like like first week at the job and shit. Motherfuckers like, oh, where you from? I'm like,
Turkey, man.
it's so funny because like every time somebody's like, so where you from? I'm like, how deep you want to get into it? Because like I'm technically from Turkey,
Yeah.
but Chicago was home base first. But I've been in St. Louis since like fucking 2002. So
What you mean?
yeah, so it's just like and like
This nigga done do Kobe.
Right.
It's so crazy. It's always funny when 21 Savage got jammed up.
Hey.
All my brothers was like on Twitter, like we gotta protect Trip at all costs. I'm like, no cap. For all I know, I might be here on motherfucking expired visa. I don't know. Like,
Hey, did that really like make you think about some shit though? Or you was like, man, I better.
I'm like, man, I've been here this long. I'm not even gonna lie. You wanna know? Like, the fucked up thing was like, I'm like, man, this nigga done been in jail. Like, I think like this nigga like
in the system.
he like done beat like he like got self-defense bodies. So I'm like,
Yeah.
this nigga done like went to
They looking for a reason.
he
to
done
put this
been
nigga
through
out.
the system. Like I'm like, nigga,
all
like,
the way.
I done been in jail before. Like I done like got tickets and shit. Like I done been in court. Like niggas ain't said shit yet. So I'm like,
Like
you
what
feel
if
me?
they
Like-
really
like,
did?
bitch, I done paid taxes and man, fuck out what you talking about. So I'm like, and we was kind of joking about it. Like I'm like, I don't know, but like I'm like, man, I done had enough paperwork that like I don't think that's the case. But it was just. That shit was just so wild because I'm like I said, I'm like, this nigga done been through the system, all kind of shit. Like, they made millions of dollars. Like, the
Taxes,
shit you have to sign up for like, I was just talking about this shit the other day with the labor homies and shit. They have to do like all the ASCAP and the BMI shit.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you gotta use government names and shit. Like, I like my favorite part about Title. Just checking the credits.
And
I
information.
love seeing nigga government names.
And they got no.
Oh, okay, Nigel, you got your flames, bro.
Yeah, so like I'm like, man, this nigga done had to sign up for all that shit, and niggas ain't never telling me what's in from me, or like needed to like refill out some paperwork. They wait to like just straight jam a nigga up.
Hey, census went out this year, my nigga. We gonna check on you, bro.
Right.
Hey, that shit crazy. I can't go back to Turkey. That shit, motherfuckers be like, oh, have you ever gone back? I'm like, nah, like that shit looks dope, but from what my mom told me, she's like, yo, like, they police be in the streets with M16s and like Uzis is like standard issue. Like that shit been war torn since like Bible days type shit. Like Istanbul, Turkey is like one of the like most like I don't want to like don't quote me on this. Like go Google like nigga, that's what we got smartphones
We'll get
for.
too
But
political.
like but it's like one of the most densely populated cities on earth and shit. It's like a lot of like historical background and like a shit like
different religions
historical
and
beef
cultures.
and shit.
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
niggas
yeah.
been going at it since forever, and like the shit done escalated to like modern military shit. So you know,
Yeah.
like it's
saying
bombings and
modern
shit.
weapons,
You feel me?
yeah.
So like. Hell no, I ain't been back to Turkey. Like, one day I definitely want to go back. I love Turkish delights. If you ain't never had none of those, you should try those. It's like a candy. If you ever seen Chronicles of Narnia, they like mention that shit. Like, it's been hella since I seen that shit.
Yeah, I
They're
was
like,
saying that was.
oh, can I have some Turkish delights? I'm like, hell yeah, it's fire. It's like, it's weird. It's like made with like almonds or pistachio, like it's like different kinds.
Awesome.
It's like this gelatin shit made with rose water. It's fire, bro. It's fire. I'm like, I don't eat a lot of freaky shit. It's like kind of weird to be like a candy. It's fire though. You should like Google. I know you can buy it off the internet.
I'm gonna Google that shit because I can't eat almonds.
Hey, you can't eat almonds?
Yeah.
Oh, you mad?
Yeah, I'm gonna just look at that shit.
Yeah.
Oh!
Yeah.
I developed a fucking nut allergy like maybe like 4 years ago, which is crazy because I love like almonds and pistachios and shit. But like one day, like mouth started itching like crazy. I'm like, what the fuck? Like, come to find out, it's like tree nuts, but you know, Papa Benadryl, keep it rocking. I can't. I'm not giving it up. I refuse.
So you was in Turkey.
Oh yeah.
When you come to the States? Or did you go to another?
Oh, so we bounced around a lot. We
Pops getting buckets.
Yeah,
Damn,
low-key, the nigga was
Can you
out
speak
there.
on that for us?
Yeah,
Okay,
I
like
get
position.
into
I just
that.
want to
Yeah,
like position. Like where Pops from?
Hey,
from Chicago?
my nigga is from Cahokia, Centerville of all
Okay.
places. Like so, I'm gonna get into how like wild that is. So like, Pops is from Cahokia, which is like that shit is like pretty fucking run down. Like no, like I love the East Side to death. Like that was like my like knowledge of St. Louis for like the longest time until I moved down here. It was just like East St. Louis, Centerville, Cahokia. That was it. That was it. Like that's why I like the strip clubs. I like them are like historic.
It's in your
landmarks
blood.
to me. Yeah. Like I remember when Onyx was the Crystal Palace, and like Hollywood had the spotlight that you could see from the highway, and I remember being a strip club, like, what's that spotlight? And like, you know, our parents kept it a buck. They're like, it's a strip club. I'm like,
They used to move across the sky and shit, right?
Yeah. You can see that shit in St. Louis.
There was that shit.
Yeah.
Wow.
This is crazy, but like, so he's from the East Side. My mom is from fucking South Side of Chicago. Grew up in LeClaire Course. That was the crazy part about like living up there is that the project building that my mom grew up in pretty much her entire life, I could see from like our back porch of the house we stayed in. Like my granny, like they like that. Like it took a minute to like I don't even think my granny wanted to move when we moved her, but when we moved her, it was like a whole thing. But they moved right across the fucking street from the projects to my house.
Say, we're moving on across the street.
I love that house, man. Like that shit crazy. I think it's still there. Like it was some shit they was gonna tear it down with the Midway Airport or whatever, but I don't know if they ever did. They definitely tore down the projects though, behind the motherfucking airport. They tore down a lot of the projects up there. That's like if you like pay attention to the whole like. If you pay attention to the whole drill shit up there, or just like the
that had a lot to
like
do
the
with
gang
the
shit up
violence
there,
and
period.
shit.
Like like realistically, like you talking about like they like knocked entire housing projects.
Yeah, I
down.
watched
Like,
what's the basketball player, the young cat that got shot, Benji. If you ever watch his documentary,
Benji Wilson.
They they mention that and just how the effect of it, just how
like,
misplaced a lot of people.
So that's what it was. Is like that was kind of like a thing too. When I was like mentioning earlier with the parties and shit out like in the suburbs, it's like motherfuckers was like if you had the means to go out there, like a lot of people just moved out there, kind of like how like a lot of motherfuckers moved from like the north side or the west side out to like North County or some shit, It's not the city, but it's like, you feel me, like if enough city shit go out there and motherfuckers don't switch nothing up, it definitely will become that. So when they tore around all them housing projects, shit really turned up, and that's like definitely like you say, like a spawn behind a lot of that shit because you have motherfuckers that was like. That's why if you listen to if you go watch a lot of them like Dirk and Vaughn or like any niggas that was like really outside, they like bro like they could go spin a block 2-3 times a day because that shit was like literally like 2 blocks down.
Yeah.
Shit. Like it's not nothing to
like the neighborhoods that. Well, funny. I just watched some with Vaughn yesterday. Like welcome to my neighborhood type shit. And he took him to O Block, so I'm looking up because I'm nosy. So like, yo, why does this nigga not like 63rd? So like, I looked up like
if you,
63rd, and it's literally like a
you,
block
like
or two
how
away.
like how street numbers work.
Yeah.
Like every other street is a number, nigga. So you go up 3-4 streets, like that's 4 numbers.
Right, because I couldn't imagine being into it with somebody and they just a block over, a couple blocks.
Ain't no
over.
way I wouldn't even be able to sleep.
Right. Like it's just like, dog, y'all really shooting it out daily. Like
That's why I was listening to that nigga new album earlier today, and it was just like my first playthrough. But he said something about spinning a nigga block and like shooting his mama crib up or some shit, and was getting tired of it because the nigga was never home. I was like, God damn, like what the fuck?
They gonna keep
Like,
spinning the
like
block.
that nigga, like that nigga.
because it was right there. Like, my
like,
crib's right here.
like,
Just go right back.
Yeah. Hey, that remind me of that old 50 line. Be like, I get tired of looking for that nigga, so I
Shoot his
played
mama
mama
crib.
crib. Had a nigga look for me.
Yeah. Make you come find me, nigga. Like, damn.
Yeah, bro,
Yeah, it's
niggas be
fucked up.
something else. But yeah, bro, like that shit was Chicago was crazy, but yeah, that's where Moms is from. Southside Projects, real in the field. Yeah, then we Pops was hooping in college and shit. That nigga played at UIC.
Okay.
And him and all his homies, them niggas was good. I think they might have won like a championship or 2 up there, and like him and like his whole like starting squad, like 6 and 7 man, like them niggas all went off to like go do shit overseas, and them niggas was turned up. So
What
They,
what position Pops play?
he was power forward,
Okay. I told you.
and he was power forward because my Uncle Derek, he hooped with him too. You know how niggas be like, he's not my real uncle, but like that's my pop's best friend. Like my Uncle Derek was a center, and them niggas used to go crazy. Like it's super funny because I remember for Father's Day, I'm like, man, I need a picture of this nigga to post. Like I like legit, I just hopped on Google. Yeah, I'm like, put my pop's name in. I'm like UIC Flame. It was like, I'm like, oh shit, I got low key few pictures to pick from. This nigga's out here posterizing shit. Like,
That's tight.
That's my Pops mode, man.
Just
Dunk
dunk
on the
Yeah,
nigga.
so,
Tomahawk
like,
toast.
This is nuts on somebody's shoulder. It's my dad.
man, nigga, it was crazy. Like being a shorty, like seeing that. Like we definitely would like watch old game tapes and shit. It'd be like Pops like 40-point game.
That's tight.
Yeah, so like nigga was icy enough to like get an agent in college, and then bopped over to overseas. Like I think he might have been on like his junior year of college before he like nigga, like got an agent in
So he
junior
didn't
year.
even trip off the NBA. He was just like, bro, I got it back.
So that's crazy. Like he eventually he like got to that point. So he like got an agent, got some shit shaking in overseas. Like took my mom with him. She was like they went to school together in UIC, which is some crazy shit. I'm like, damn, like that's
a
like
real
some
love
some
story
gold,
shit.
like some
Yeah.
gold shit. Like they was like college sweethearts. He like, hey, like I got an agent. Like I'm out. Like you trying to go? And she was like, yeah. It's
Ride or
like
die.
they like both. Like that's what she was like. They both just like took the fuck off. So I think he played in France for a little bit first, and then he played there for like a year or 2. They had me. I went to that was in France. Then he played in Turkey. Then we went back to France because my mom, she just sent me some pictures the other day of me in preschool in Paris. I was like, that's funny as fuck because I didn't even know niggas went to preschool over there.
This nigga went to
That's a
preschool
Kanye
in
line
Paris,
somehow.
right?
I was like, damn. I was like, okay. I was like, I thought that was was way
Nigga,
younger
I
than
ate
that.
graham crackers at the Eiffel Tower.
Yeah,
Like,
she
you
like-
can't
it
talk
was-
to me
it
nice.
It was mad funny because the text message was like LOL, this is you with your finger paintings on the apartment in France. She was like, you fucked them people's walls all up. I'm like, hey, I'm like, I know y'all didn't get the deposit back, but
This nigga definition of biscuit is totally different from
Right.
ours.
Yeah. We can't relate, like, at all.
like they got these the finger
little
the
cookie?
finger cookie
Yeah.
dog and shit crazy.
With the coffee and shit.
Yeah. It's like my first birthday cake was a strawberry filled cake, and that shit had the finger cookies around that shit.
Now I understand why your niggas want you to rap. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, yo, this nigga life, his life is illustrious.
It's just
That's
like
oyster
so.
perpetual.
Right.
I like that.
Your whole life
I
is
don't know if I
literally
said
a
that
Rick
right.
Ross rap.
That's
dog.
like
what
that's
the
like so
fuck?
that's like what like that's like
All the
talking to
parents
my
friends with the finger cookies.
like it's like fucking me up like talking to my parents and shit. You know like I know like everybody like parental relationship is different and shit. But I was you know like I was in enough shit that like me and my parents we like were beef like it was always love and shit. They was always gonna take care of a nigga. But I know for a fact like I got on their fucking nerves. But it wasn't until like niggas like show like real life initiative and like making
Till they
shit
start
shape
getting
for
behind
themselves and shit.
Yeah.
You feel me?
I-
And
we
like
can
you
all-
know,
we can all attest
like
to
yeah,
that.
like you like
Yeah.
it's crazy. Like once you become like an adult, like your parent, like if your parents, like my parents fucked with me more. I'm like every year, I'm like damn, like these my homies for real. And it was like last year it was probably for like the holiday or something. It was like 4th of July. We was like in the kitchen like drinking beers and shit, and we were talking about planes for some reason. We just like me and my pops just nerd ass niggas like that. That's where I get that shit from. And we was talking about planes with my uncle, and plane ticket prices got brought up, and then first class plane ticket prices got brought up, and then my dad just casually was like, yeah, it used to cost blah 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 to fly all of us and our shit back and forth first class. And I'm like,
Damn.
nigga, we was flying first. I'm like, bro, I'm like going my whole life thinking watching the fucking Simpsons on a plane was some normal shit.
Nigga fly first class.
Like that
Nigga about to drop an album.
I'm like literally, I'm like, bro, I'm like, nigga, I done went this long thinking this shit was normal. This shit was not normal. This nigga talking about,
That
like,
nigga got the
I'm
screens
like,
on
Hey,
his
bro,
higher
I'm like,
standards,
I'm like,
yeah.
nigga, that's a fucking Ford Focus to fly back and forth.
Every time.
Bro, I'm like, that
A
shit's
car.
nuts. And I just like really thought, like, bro, like niggas was
Blessed.
flying first class to go to Cahokia and like the south side of Chicago. Like that's why my brother was like, nigga, he's just like somebody was just like, bro, I can't figure trip out, and he was just like, man, like that nigga done seen a lot of shit. It ain't just like that just is what it is. And I was just like, bro, like
Not easily impressed.
Exactly.
like and then like going from so I'm like the oldest of 4. We like bouncing around and shit. My mom, she had my little brother Matt in Portugal, and then we went from Portugal. Then we moved to Japan. So we moved to Japan in like '96. That's when, like I was telling y'all earlier, I had that region locked PlayStation. Like that's like because niggas was in Japan like
I
launch
could
day.
not imagine
Right.
being in Japan without the internet.
You know what? Like the shit was so fucking advanced, bro. Like that's
probably
why.
had the internet.
That's why I like had a conversation with somebody a while ago. They was like, man, like I've seen you excited, so like I know like shit excites you, but like don't a lot of shit like move you, or like the shit that moves you be so like left field or like so fucking ridiculously extravagant that the normal motherfucker ain't even really gonna want to like get into that shit because it's so borderline. Like I don't even want to say unattainable because everything like nigga, if you want to go get some shit and you want to make some shit happen, like you gonna get that shit. Like talking about being in a club, like I done seen many a niggas pull up in all kind of crazy shit, and I'm like talking to them, you like, yo, what they do, like whether it be like some legal shit or some illegal shit, like niggas is making it happen to a point that I'm like, I feel
possible.
inclined enough to ask you what the fuck you doing.
Yeah.
So I can like see what the fuck type of time you want and get on that shit. So I'm like, yeah, a lot of shit don't move me because when I would walk out of our apartment when I was fucking 5, 6, the skyscrapers was made out of fucking jumbotrons. You feel me? Like,
That's crazy.
my like on Saturdays, my like the team manager. That nigga, shout out to Kata. Like, that's crazy. Like, I still, like, I don't know. I'm gonna need my mom to, like, fucking, I don't know, the internet. How, but get back in touch with Kata. But Kata would, like, my pops would go to practice and shit on Saturdays. My mom's, you know, she kicking it. She'd probably be out with, like, the other basketball wives. Like, doing their thing. And, like, Kata, like, come pick me up. And we go to the fucking toy store. And, like, nigga, the toy store, you talking about Japan was so different, nigga, because like, you know, like you go to like RIP Toys R Us, but you go in Toys R Us, it's only select shit on display.
Yeah.
You know, like it had to be like whatever was like just came out, like that would be on display. Like everything else, nigga, you just gotta like hope the box image is fire enough to like incline your purchase, you feel me? But like you go in a toy store in Japan, nigga, like it's shit out to see from the floor to the ceiling, like everywhere. I'm talking about like you know what's funny, because I just seen this shit pop up now and it's even on Netflix, but we was watching Ultraman and like they had different Power Rangers over there that was like that niggas was watching, and we used to watch all kind of different shit, but like that's, I'm like, yeah, like I'm not to be like I'm hard to impress, but like I just like
You've seen a lot.
Yeah, man. Like, yeah. So like,
that's
blessed.
It's a skyscraper outside my bedroom, B.
Yeah.
Like, you can't talk
like
to
that's
me.
like, you know what's crazy?
what?
I've been thinking about this shit a lot lately because even when I was younger and me and my mom, we would be like looking through pictures and shit, and we'd like just be talking and looking at the apartment pictures and shit, and she'd be like, yeah, our apartment, like as far as like Japan standards go, like nigga, this is huge. Like me and my brother, like even though we shared a room, the fact that like we had separate rooms, they was like across the house from each other, and it's a living room and a kitchen, like nigga, that shit, like that's not like,
I haven't seen
even in
apartments.
I've seen them; they pretty small.
Yeah, got
like
more than
even
one room
like it's
for real.
before like I said, before Corona came through and shit on everything, I was definitely like trying to plan a trip to Japan, and just like I watch a lot of YouTube, so I was like watching a lot of like travel vlogs, or like just people, or just people who live over there. And
that shit calmed down my anxiety for that, cause my dream trip is Tokyo, so I was doing the same shit. I was watching all the people that lived out there, and like I seen black people, white people, all types of people that from America.
Yeah.
And it's like, yo, I just live. One dude, he was like, man, I just moved. No reason. He's like, I just always wanted to live in Japan.
If you can make it happen, that should be so crazy. People always.
But yeah, they was giving all the tips and stuff. I'm like, oh damn, that ain't bad. Okay, cool.
But as far as housing go,
all of they cribs are small.
Yeah.
Every video I watched,
like this would be a
literally,
whole spot,
just like this.
Like
it was like, damn.
That should be the stove.
Shower. Actually, this is big.
Right. Japan, like, they come this motherfucker.
Yeah, because like you got.
Because like I've seen hotels over there that's literally
kitchen.
the size of this table.
Yeah.
Like you just crawl in that bitch and sleep
Just
for
a
hour.
space. It's a crawl space.
Like you talking about a place in the world that they. Like, I know, like, you watching the videos and shit, you seen the capsule fucking hotel room.
Yeah.
It's like, yo, like,
Efficiency.
y'all are so efficient with space that y'all will sleep in a fucking hollow cube with a 14-inch
And not
TV.
complain
And one thing, nothing of it.
Yeah.
Like, completely
This is
comfortable.
normal.
It's crazy, but she
Makes me think
always,
of
like,
Fifth Element.
she always made sure that, like, niggas knew, like, hey, like I say, like some shit I didn't like realize how crazy it was till like recently. She always like expressed like, yo, like nigga, like
You didn't
this
live.
shit,
You didn't live a normal
like,
life.
yeah, you feel me? Like like I was saying, like recently I've been thinking about this lady. I forget what my mom said she did, but she owned like her crib was the top floor of the building across from ours. And we had a balcony, and I just remember being a kid. I just go on the balcony. She had a fucking koi pond on the roof. And like her fish was so big, like I was like across the fucking street. I just look, I'm like, damn, like that's why you're nigga, you talking about yes, bro, like that's what you flexed up. I'm like if our shit levels, what the fuck was she doing? Because like that shit still to this day blows my fucking mind. Like talking about when I having some
rooftop,
I gotta have a koi pond.
That's filthy.
I have to have a koi pond.
That is nasty, dog.
Ridiculous.
Can you imagine seeing titties in front of a koi pond?
Bro, I have to I'm gonna get built with this shit.
Man, I was like, man, I'm gonna have to go through the
like,
photo albums and see. But I don't know, but like bro.
I only see that shit in
nuts.
anime.
Yeah.
I see koi ponds in anime.
But you know the thing
that's
is,
like
bro,
Miami
anime is
shit.
so fucking accurate as far as like how the shit looks.
Yeah.
Like like the side streets that be like residential side streets with like a corner store. Like that's how that shit looks. So this is the thing, like we lived in Japan for 4 years. We lived in Tokyo for 2 years, and then we lived in Osaka for 2 years.
Okay.
And like Tokyo is like, like New York type shit. I did a lot of places, but I still haven't been to New York. But nigga, jumbotrons and shit, but like on a whole different level. You feel me? Like
times 100.
so Tokyo was fucking nuts. Osaka was still crazy, but that's like a little bit like almost like it's like almost like a county vibe type shit. It's still like it still got some hustle and bustle and shit, but
Man,
it's like a little bit more
More
chill.
tame.
Yeah, so
like moving from would you say like moving from New York to Chicago, or like
in a way, because like I say, it's still a major fucking city. But it's
major.
I know it is. I've heard of it, so that's
yeah.
I know it's major.
Right.
So yeah, that shit was nuts. So like, definitely like saw both extremes of that, and then I feel like I just like skipped a bunch of shit, but y'all get it. But like then after Japan, niggas moved to Chicago, and that's where like went to like first grade. Beginning of second grade and shit in Chicago. And when we moved back, you was talking about, that's what I was finna get into. You was like asking if my dad ever did the NBA shit. So when he would be on the off season overseas, we would come back home to Chicago and shit. And he would like fly to LA and shit. He done like, it's crazy because like the nigga done did mad shit. Like he done like my mom done tell me he like did Nike commercials and shit. It's so funny because I watched this YouTube video the other week breaking down the movie Crossover.
Yeah, I remember that.
Bro, terrible fucking movie.
With the hot sauce.
Yeah, terrible fucking movie. Hot sauce was in that movie.
Yeah.
Hot sauce was in that movie. He was like the arch nemesis.
That's why I remember it. Because he was in it.
Yeah, so he in that movie, they the main character, they get that nigga to come do some moves for like a commercial, but they like use a real athlete. Well, not to say like some fucking movie, whatever. The nigga ain't use.
So your dad was like a stunt devil.
Yeah, so like he like the nigga do like the moves and shit, and then they'll bring a real athlete in to like in the shadows, like bang
like
in the shadows,
yeah,
or like do the moves in the shadows. So like he like done did that shit, or like he like I say, like getting older, he just be like telling me stories and shit. He would like go out to Venice Beach and shit. Like in like White Man Can't Jump.
White Man Can't Jump.
Yeah, like he was like, that's like, Venice 3-on-3 tournaments. Like, nigga got trophies at the crib for that shit. Like Nike Pro-Am, Venice Beach 3-on-3 tournaments. Like, nigga, like roommates with Penny for the fucking 3-on-3 tournaments and shit. Like he was like, I was like, bro, never. He like just casually one day was like, yeah, like I forget what the fuck we was talking. We just talking about like some basketball shit. And he was like, yeah, like it might have been basketball leading into like some like flexing, balling, like car ass shit, because he was telling me how like him and Penny was like, that was like his nigga out there in Cali. And like they would go to like practice and shit and like open gyms together and shit. But Penny had 2 Range Rovers, and Penny would be like, yo, Nate, you could take the Range, like if you need to go like move around, like move and groove in LA, like I'm gonna take the other Range.
Nigga, yeah, I need to move
I'm
around.
like, nigga, what? How did you know? I'm like, Penny just like casually letting you fucking take the other Range, nigga. What the fuck?
Nigga, my errands got errands, nigga.
Like,
I'm out here.
like crazy ass shit. So he like did all that shit, and then he like did that shit, and then like at the tail end of his career, he definitely like being like having a history with Chicago and shit. Did the Bulls practice team, but what's the short fat punk ass nigga from the Last Dance?
What's
his name?
coach?
Jerry Krause.
Yeah, Jerry Krause.
He was telling me how like you know like nigga, you gotta be good to even be in the fucking gym. You feel me? But like the shit just wasn't what it is now. And Jerry, he just was telling me this, matter of fact, because we was watching The Last Dance.
Yeah.
And, like, I didn't know he had this experience with Jerry Cross, but, like, we watching that shit, and he's like, Jerry, bitch ass, or some shit. I'm just like,
well, I'm glad they
it's like breaking news. I'm like, what do you, I'm like, film. He was just like, man, I was like, he telling me, like, at the Bulls, like summer practice shit, he was just like, man, you came in the gym and it was just like mad, like just a fucking asshole. He was just like, I forget how many people my dad said like was at the like tryouts and shit. He was just like, yeah, we got one spot, da 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 da. If you don't make it, he was just like a real dick about the whole situation. It was just like, if you make it, like you're a lucky son of a bitch type shit. But if you don't, like you just probably fucking suck type shit. But like I say, like everybody, like nigga, it's fucking real hoopers in the gym, and like dude was just like mad disrespectful, and like I said, I like didn't know that shit until like we was watching The Last Dance. My dad was like, "This son of a bitch." I'm like, "Oh man," I'm like, "I ain't know this shit was like that deep."
I'll beat this nigga ass if he wasn't dead, man.
Yeah, so yeah, and then after that, like that was like 2000, like 99, 2000, and that's when he retired. Then we like lived in Chicago for a little bit, and then he like got a gig down here, and niggas been here ever since.
That's what's up.
Yeah, like you write a book, rap,
man. Like that's why, like that's when motherfuckers be like, "So where you from?" I'm like, man, how much time you got? Cause like my nigga, like this, like, cause when I tell you one thing, you gonna ask, like, it's almost like a flow chart. Like, I done told this story so many times. Like, I'm like, ask this question type shit. Like, and I'm like, yo, like, realistically, like, I hate to be like that. But I'm like, bro, if you, like, I'm like, yo, I'm sure if you, like, gave my mom a couple fucking shots and, like, busted out a photo album, like, you could see everything you wanted to see. You feel me? Like, my best friends and shit, like, even growing up, I never been one of them, like, have a lot of motherfuckers over my house as people. Like my mom's wasn't really for that shit. And so like me like kind of growing up like not really like I was like always to myself. Like I always had homies and shit, but like even them, like I would just go to their crib. So like when like niggas would come over to the crib, they be like looking at the walls like, bro, what the fuck? Like I was like, that nigga was like, damn, like bro was ducking like that. Like that was like that's it, like that shit dad. Like where the fuck was this picture at? Like, niggas will make, like, I ain't even gonna say it, because niggas, you know how niggas be, like, fucking making terrible Asian jokes and shit. Like, nigga, who was this Asian lady? I'm like, you know, like, nigga, that's my neighbor in Japan. I'm like, what the fuck? Like, yeah, like, going to video cabinet, like, we had VHSs from Japan and shit. Like, I said, like, like, region lock games, like, fucking, like, I got, what's that shit with, the Batman with Mr. Freeze and shit.
Batman and Robin?
Yeah, like I got that shit, like the VHS was like a VHS I got in Japan. Like that shit, like the cover is like, it's like Batman and Robin and it's got like a bunch of Japanese characters all over it. Cover hard actually, now that I think about it. I don't think it's any like I don't think the fucking US cover is anything like it, but it's crazy. It's crazy. I ain't never even seen the US cover. Like that's like.
Not much. You're not missing nothing.
But yeah, bro, like that's just like the shit, like. When niggas be like, I can't really pinpoint shit. It's just like, bro, like, I remember being in high school, and I was kind of just like, you know, going through, like, high school kid shit, and was just, like, pressed one day, and, like, I, like, niggas, like, that's how I kind of got the nickname Trip. Like, I was just, like, eventually, like, a trip out one time, and I just remember I'm, like, tripped out. I'm just, like, niggas just wasn't getting it. I'm like, bro, like, I done seen more than a lot of niggas seen, like, ever. Like, bro, like, get the fuck away from me, yo. Like, man, like I say, like, I hate when, I see, like, since social media is, like, big and shit, I'm like, yeah, I mean, you know, do what you want, like, but, yeah, like, don't ever, like, put nobody down because can't nobody, like, do some shit with it. Like, nigga, if you could take that trip to Tulum this year still, like, that's fucking great.
Right.
That's great, but like, don't shit on nobody else because they can't go to Tulum or because they don't have a passport. Like, I see a lot of people flex a passport, but like, nigga, like
LLC.
your shit stamped out.
Stamp, yeah, like with the stamp game, like that's
that's what I'm like I hate the cap shit. Like, nigga, I had 2 full passports before I was 10. Like, that's what my dog says.
I had to ad-lib my first. Like, what the fuck?
Got a Dame Dash with them at the beginning and the end of the
Yeah,
shit.
you know what I'm saying?
Oh,
I don't even have to rap.
So like that's kind of like I done like had like not like had to go my whole life like not putting anybody down, but like I like definitely from an early age like realized nigga like not every like nigga even my cousins like they ain't got it like that like so like
Exclusive.
yeah you know I had to like happy that I like realized that shit early on because that shit make you look terrible when you like you know like it's okay to cap every now and then like jokingly like I fucking do this shit all the time like nigga ain't got these or like you feel me like that's just like that just come with like popping shit but like
it happens
that's just like come with the territory of being lit but when you just like but just when you like nigga every Instagram post is like shitting on somebody.
And that's the only time you post?
It's like now you probably got like some personal issues.
Yeah, now you do it it's for confidence.
I always thought
probably got bullied.
I always thought you called yourself True because of like psychedelic drugs.
Nah, that's so
like,
funny that we even like.
Because every time me and this nigga talk on Twitter about like psychedelics and music. Because I remember we talking like shrooms one day.
Yeah.
And so, oh my god, you motherfuckers did shrooms? Like how was it? I'm like, man, like.
Did I say that?
No. It was like somebody else, like, they DM me, like, how do I get them?
Oh, okay.
Shit like that. And, like, I couldn't really, like, explain it for real. Like, man, it's just one of them things where, like, my homie, he lived out in L.A. He cleared out the day. Because I was already down there for a week. So I took shrooms the second day I was out there. You know what I'm saying? So he made sure, like, yo, I've done it before.
I was gonna say with my experience with it, I'm like, this is sound like you had like everything set up. The right way.
I had somebody who was a veteran, like, and I had somebody looking at me.
It was a good time.
Yeah, oh hell yeah, nigga.
Yeah.
I passed out of the PF chains, but I don't even know how we got there. Like I just remember,
just on a ride.
I just remember like when I was like I got up and like. I remember like big ass bowl of rice or plate of rice was like in front of me.
Yeah,
like,
PF Chang's a big ass.
They definitely gonna keep bringing them rice.
And the next day I was like, damn, did I really order that rice? Like, you know what I'm saying?
This ain't real.
Yeah, like you know what I'm saying. But the one thing I do remember, like when we started out, and I had a little small like dose of that shit, like, and all I remember, I would trip off like the strangest shit, like so. I remember this vividly. I remember thinking about like metal birds, like
you probably seeing like artwork and shit out there.
Yeah, like it was like Dr. Robotnik Sonic birds.
Oh,
like
this nigga was on Sonic.
Yeah, like it was like strange. Like, but I wasn't like paranoid or shit like that. I'm like, damn, when we get those? You know what I'm saying?
You just look at shit differently.
Yeah, like it like unlocked a part of like my imagination.
So like that was like that's funny because like you like a lot of people like oh I thought you like. People call you trip because you like to trip, and it's just like, honestly, I like took shrooms like a long ass time ago. Like, to being honest, like I don't give a fuck. Like if you know, like it's not really a psychedelic technically. Like a lot of people take it with psychedelics, but like my first like real like trip of any sort was with Molly.
Yeah, I had Molly before too.
So I took Molly one time. Like I like it.
That was a psychedelic.
In a way, like if you take enough Molly, like you'll trip a little bit. It's like it's not as visual, but it's mad body euphoric. Like,
that's the only thing I got from it.
So so that was like my first like trip, but then eventually I did shrooms, and it was cool. Then what the fuck did I do when I took them? I can't remember. It was a long ass time ago. I feel like we went, I'm happy in my nigga book, I can see, because it was definitely with him and his ex-girlfriend. That was my first trip with shrooms. Wasn't a huge fan, but then,
yeah, the come down is vicious. Like, when you, like, back to normal.
Yeah, it's just like, shit. It's just that, I'm a nerd, bro. Like, that's the thing. People be like, you do what? hey, as long as you educate yourself before
about
you do
that
some
shit?
shit.
Right.
Look, you can,
Like
you
I
can
said,
use
like,
scientific terms.
I'm a
Suicides and
I'm a
shit.
big ass like they might get that shit tattooed. Like get it how you live, like in every aspect of the situation, like. And that's like
Whatever.
I live by that. Like
Yeah.
nigga, get it how you live. So like if I'm gonna do some shit, like I'm gonna not do nothing without like
Don't have that.
doing some type
Right.
of research on it. You feel me? So like did shrooms. Like it wasn't like the craziest shit because I didn't like. I was like, felt kind of weird. Like whatever. But then like 3 years ago, on the 4th of July, I was with some homies and they had acid.
That's different. I haven't touched that yet.
I got a tab of acid tattooed on my neck. That shit changed my life that drastically.
Bruh. Like I've like you said, get it how you live. I've researched it.
Yep.
And I'm just like the dose like just a little bit of this. But like the more I kept like researching LSD, the more I was like, damn, like this is why it's illegal. Cause it's like, dog, if everybody had that shit,
Bro,
it'll open your mind.
The world will be a different place, bro.
My right hand to God, like I'm still the same nigga since forever, but that shit, like every time somebody's like, you like acid that much? Or I'll like make a joke about like not fucking with shrooms because I fuck with acid so much. Like motherfuckers be like, what? I'm like, that shit, like I look at like I'm a genuinely nicer person after I took acid for the first time.
Dog,
I'm I'm still working on being like, you know, considerate. I'm like I'm an Aries, so I don't know, you moon girls, let me know. I think being an Aries kind of come with being a little bit selfish, you know, like, you know, it's just like this book I used to read as a kid called Me First. It was just but I definitely, you feel me, like I thought about other people way earlier in the situation than what I used to, or like, you feel me, like I just felt nicer after the fact. I was just like, damn, what the fuck? And then after that, like every once in a while I will say like, so when people be like, oh, I had a bad trip or da 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 da, the thing with psychedelics is that people be like, it's a mirror, or it's like, you know, like
doing a lot of
you eventually, like, you're not gonna take no psychedelics and then not have to deal with some shit that you like are going through now, or like done went through in the past. Cause like, you know, even throughout the day, like nigga, you might be in the car smoking a blunt and then just like some shit from back in the day hits you, be like, damn, like,
tearing
you
up
know,
and
like,
shit.
and that's like, and
I
that's
ain't
also
gonna lie, I
like,
cry smoking weed about 3 times a week, bro.
well, my niggas, you ever say smoke kush blunts so a nigga cry?
Bro, I just be driving. I'll be like, damn, I had to cut the Isley brothers off and be like,
Bro,
yeah.
like, that's like real shit. So, taking that, like, opening that up, like, it's weird because there's not really no other way to explain it other than, like, that shit opens some shit up. And, like, God forbid you think about some shit that you been avoiding. That shit, you gonna, like, you really can't progress into the trip until you deal with that shit right there. People be like, oh, I had a bad trip. It's because you was bitching up and didn't really want to deal with what the fuck you was dealing with. And you know, like, that's like, not to be like, I feel like I be bullying people when it comes to psychedelics just because, like,
But that's
I've
what I
had
heard.
I can't, like, I've had good experiences. Have I had, like, those trips where I done, like, had to, like, deal with some shit to get through it? Fuck yeah. But, like, just like, that's the point of it. I think people, like, the shit can be hella fun. Like, I done had some of the best times in my life, like, tripping or, like, you feel me? So
it's not every time that you gotta fight demons.
no,
Yeah, okay.
no. Like, nigga, like, I was just at the lake over the summer with a bunch of my friends and, like, my brother and shit. And somebody had got to the lake, like, a little bit later in the night or whatever. So we was, like, out on the boat and shit. And, like, on some wavy shit. I'm like surfing and shit. Like, I popped my tab, like, right before we went surfing. So I'm, like, in the water. And, like, my tab
this nigga can swim.
like, tab kick in the water. I'm like, whoa, this shit is crazy. I'm like, this is wonderful. So we, like, get back in the boat and shit. Like, that's how I, like, started off. But we, like, get back upstairs and shit. And, like, one of my favorite things about acid, like, if you done took this shit and, like, taken it enough to, like, have a really good time. Like, you know.
You feel like
Like-
you in control after you take it a few times?
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
Okay.
Like I said, like, that's why I feel like I don't be wanting to bully people, but I'm like, yo, like, taking it, like, just, this shit is really a tool. Like, if you go into it knowing that you gonna have to, like, get through some shit, like, you gonna have, like, the greatest time after that shit. Like, this, like I said, the shit might change your life.
Yeah.
As long as you go into it being strong enough to know that, like, you gonna have to, like,
Get through.
fight. Like,
Yeah.
nigga, like, motherfuckers, like I say, feel like a bully, but niggas, like, get to that point and then, like, be weak and then just, like, have a terrible, like, nigga, you gonna, like, that's the thing about psychedelics is, like, nigga, that's a long ride. Like, nigga, like,
and it's gonna take
like,
that
in my
ride.
experience, nigga, like, you might be, like, 3 to 4 hours into it. Then that shit gonna happen. Now you got, like, another 4 to 6 hours of, like, feeling like shit. When realistically, like, if you just, like, nigga, take some insight.
Learn your lesson. Learn your lesson.
I mean, because the only
Work
thing that
through it.
the only thing that held me back, like not held me back because I will be back in the future also, is that like I remember like just smoking. I ain't got so high, and off the shit I think of like just on some good kush, like just smoking, and I'm just like dog. The last time I would say like 2 months ago, dog, I got so high, dog. Like I was smoking more than usual. You know what I'm saying? I was like, man, let me go past my tolerance. You know what I'm saying? And I was just thinking about Ryu from Street Fighter, bro. Like that nigga never wore shoes, and he just and he just
tough as a motherfucker.
he just walks the globe beating ass.
They had big ass feet.
Dog,
Like, even like before they got.
I was sitting in my car.
They had hobbit feet, bro.
I pulled up to my crib. I'm sitting in my car, smoke. I was already high, smoked some more, and I was just like, yo. This nigga Ryu never seen a titty.
These niggas feet.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I was just like, when did
they
Ryu
sell
have
bits
time
and
to get cheeks? You know what I'm saying? Like,
that shit was, they not even in their practice.
No,
like,
slide
beat
on
niggas'
Sunday,
ass
like,
was his.
They ain't had like
Bro,
breaks
did
in the
you watch
tournament.
Baki? Baki was
Yeah.
a different
I didn't
nigga
watch
after he
that
got
shit.
some pussy.
Pussy, yeah, like the nigga was like,
Oh, I'm gonna have to watch that shit.
Oh,
Bro,
hey, yeah.
his pop
yeah.
told like, yo, you need to go get some coochie.
Hey, but his
That's
pop
funny
was
as hell.
like, I'm the most powerful creature in the world,
Mhm.
but I did some shit to get her. Like, niggas is gonna tell you what to do
He
and
said-
what not to do,
He
but
said
look
you
at
might,
me.
So he said, son, you might have to eat some ass.
Yeah. Hey, you know what? That nigga Baki was getting it for about a week straight. He was like, I'm not dead.
That nigga went super saiyan
Boy.
after that.
Yeah, he was getting it. Yeah.
Put some hair on
Son,
his
you might
chest.
have to eat some ass to be great.
He put some hair on his chest.
My niggas, like, they be so dedicated to just beat niggas' ass, they don't smoke no weed.
Nothing.
These niggas just want to sweep the leg like on some Rex Kwon Do shit and Napoleon Dynamite type shit.
That'd be it.
That's just, I literally got that. So thinking of that just off a nice ass blunt, I'm like, I don't know what the hell LSD gonna bring out of me like the back of my
so
mind.
like
man.
that's the thing. I'm trying to think of like crazy shit that you think of. Like you really just like I said, I don't want to be like sounding like fucking I forget the dude's name. Like that used to be a murder. It's like niggas out there like that, like or acid. Like lab scientists, and
Enthusiasts.
shit. Yeah, like you feel me,
Hey,
like
you fuck with Viceland?
yeah, of course,
Yeah.
like Hamilton's Pharmacopoeia,
Ooh,
like
there
the
we
niggas,
go,
like the
there we
niggas
go.
you pull up on, like
Hey,
I love that
I
shit.
wonder
Like that's
where
what I'm
the fuck
talking
his
about.
mind
Like
is
that's
at.
why, dude, like I ain't gonna hold you. Like I know niggas like Hamilton.
Oh,
Like they might not be as
same,
smart as
same.
Hamilton, but
Yeah,
their
been
mannerisms and the way he talk, like that nigga is cooked. Hamilton is cooked.
But they
Like
be
the
doing
nigga's
some
still
shit.
smart as fuck,
Yeah,
but
saying,
just
they be doing some
like
shit.
you can only do so many different things, so many different times. And it's like it might not even have been.
Yeah.
It might not even been ecstasy or the shrooms or the acid. Like it might have been like
They be doing
one
like
of them,
organic shit,
yeah,
like
or
DMT and
it's
shit.
just like them niggas are so smart that like I say, just like being like hip onto the shit that they smart asses make shit that's like a few molecules off, so it's like technically not illegal,
Yeah.
and the FDA
You
don't have
really
no
not-
regulation over it. And like even though you can't open up a lab in the US, like you got a lab in China, so you like are pumping out like, so that's the thing too, is like
That's deep.
yeah, niggas don't know
That's
that.
deep.
Niggas don't know that. Like the China, it's so much fake shit coming out of China. that I sound like a fucking politician right now. China is fake shit. But no, it's crazy. Like China, like real, like not even just like niggas know
Like
China for like
and shit.
yeah, like fake nigga anything. Just
even
just
like iPhones and
that's
like
what I'm saying.
AirBuds and shit.
Niggas know China for like fake, regular everyday products, but like China.
Hey, what I was saying, I had this Chinese chick kept bootlegging my shit.
Yeah, nigga, they bootleg everything all the way down to substances, nigga. Like even fentanyl, like niggas be like, where the fuck does like that shit comes from? Like that, like the shit that isn't like made prescription. Like they got like fentanyl patches and shit for like people with cancer and shit.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But like other than that, like the powder that motherfuckers be fucking up the world with, like that shit come from China.
Damn.
Like motherfuckers, like I'm hella into weed. Like people, they order fake, like this fake tree sap from China that looks like dabs.
Oh,
like so, like shicey ass niggas. Just like if you like don't know what you looking for, like the shit look like a slab of like concentrate, but it's really like I say tree saps.
See, that's why I said I just smoke weed, bro.
That's
But like I say, but you like if you wanted to, you can figure it out. Like it's like you get it's levels to shit. Like I say, I'm not gonna do nothing without knowing. You feel me?
Yeah,
Like
you said, you gotta know.
Have you seen a titty on LSD?
oh yeah, oh my god, a million titties.
What have you smashed on? Like
Yeah, oh my god, yeah. Oh man, like.
Okay, now
I don't want to be the acid spokesperson. Like I say, I'm not a like don't hey nigga do whatever you like, get it how you live.
Get it how you live.
Get it how you live.
That's crazy.
But man, that's why I say acid changed my life, bro. That shit.
like
what? Food better, music better.
Yeah,
weed better.
I would imagine I would try to play Cuddy or Pink Floyd if I did.
Bro, you listen to like everything just hits. If you like bro, like
I just want to listen to music on this now, just alone.
Like it's so funny. Like the first time I took acid, it was like on the 4th of July. Like I said, we like took the tabs, like popped some fireworks, but by the time like the shit hit, we was floating in the pool and floaties listening to Frank Ocean. And I'm like laughing, like I'm like this in the floaty, like laughing, and they like, what's funny? I'm like, I went my whole life thinking this shit was scary. Like dead ass, quote. I'm like, bro, I went my whole life thinking this shit was scary, and they just laughed at me. Cause like I'm not gonna lie, like if it's a lot, like I done been through a lot of shit without ever saying anything to anybody, like. If we going through, like, we just gonna get through it. Like, I ain't gonna tell you, like, yo, like, nigga, this my, like, first shootout we gotta run from. Like, we just gonna get through this shit. Yeah. And then, like, maybe when we smoking the blunt after, I'll be like, yeah, so, like.
You know, it's my first
time. So,
I ain't really had no strap on.
Yeah, so, like, that's how my first time, like, niggas was just, like, like, it was kind of one of them things where, like, I was like, man, if I'm gonna do this shit, like you said, your homie just like kind of has set it up. Like, you probably ain't even have to pay for it. He's like, yo, like, I'm gonna show you a good time. Like, that's how it was at the time. Like, homie just pulled up, just like showing everybody a good time. Like, I'm like, fuck. I'm like kind of nervous. I'm like, my nigga, I like felt my big brother Rico. I'm like, man. I'm like, dog, like I ain't never did acid before. He laughed at me, like slapped me on the back. He's like, first time for everything. I'm like,
I got you.
I'm here with you.
Yeah, I'm like, you dickhead. Like real big brother shit. I'm like, fuck. And I like me being me, I'm like Mr. Send It. So I'm just like, fuck it. Took it. Like I said, it was floating in the pool hour and a half later. Like, nigga, wow. Like,
I need to do.
I like that.
Imagine
you know what was wild though. Like that was of all things. Like I was going through a lot that year that I took acid for the first time too, which was kind of like broke that negative like stereotype of that you gotta be in like the like you gotta like have everything in your life going well before you're like you know you don't have to like be married and be a millionaire. Like Beyonce don't have to be your neighbor for you to have a good acid trip. You feel me? Like you just have to it would help. Like I would love to like walk outside and like see Hov and Beyonce while I'm tripping like and offer.
Hey, you know what? I might not believe it. I'd be like, I need to go in the house. I'm too high. Yeah. I'm too high. I just seen Jay-Z.
I'm gonna go over there.
How do you do? Guy across the street. Like,
I got some Kool-Aid.
I mean,
For
look,
real.
illustrious.
Yes.
Where did that begin? With the hoodies.
Speaking of acid, on an acid trip.
Oh, there you go.
Wow.
I like, I've always been into like nice ass fabrics and shit. It's like, you know what's funny? Like my mom and like my aunties and shit, they have like, they'll wear like a scarf or like some shit to church. And like me being like, usually like when I was younger, I used to get away with going to sleep in church. But you know, the older you get, like nigga, that shit don't go. The shit slapped out of you in church for 9 off.
Mm-hmm.
But I used to like use they scarves and shit as pillows.
That's sad.
And then just like being in the clothes and shit, I was like thrifting a lot at the time. I had like came up on a couple nice ass scarves, and then one of the scarves was this crazy nice ass Versace scarf. Like I still got that bitch like fucking fire. I used to wear it all the time, like to keep my hair out of my face when I was DJing and shit. And like I said, I was like, the year that I started as, I was going through a lot of shit. So like I just was like, every gig, like it was so funny. Somebody was like, man, for the longest time, I thought you just had the craziest eyes on earth. I'm like, nah, bro, like keep it a buck. I was just like fucking busting like every time you saw me, like off a mix of shit. Like, and I'm telling them what the fuck, like whatever the vibe was for the night, like that's what niggas was on.
What it
So
was.
niggas was like tweaking. So wearing this fucking bandana on some, shout out to Jimi Hendrix, like just wearing this bandana on some like Jimi Hendrix shit, because it felt nice, because shit feels extra nice when you're on acid. And like I say, I'd be like DJing, so I'm like on acid, so I'm like taking this shit serious, but I'm like having fun, feeling good, but like shit just like I'm react to certain shit differently.
Shit, huh?
So like when I was like in the zone, if my hair like came in my face, I was like, oh, what the fuck? So I like always had to like figure out a way to fucking keep my hair out of my face. So I would wear that scarf. And then one day I had a hoodie on, and I like took my hoodie off, and like the scarf came off with the hoodie. I'm like, man, like that'd be kind of tight. Like if a cool ass like printed scarf was in a hoodie, and you know like having like natural hair and shit, like not even like tripping off the fact that like when I'm thinking of it, like the initial thought was like that the shit would be fire, but then like the next day when I'm like really like thinking on it some more,
See the benefits.
yeah, I'm like, yo, like nigga, like I'm a skinny nigga, like I be cold as fuck, like if it's cold enough, like I'll sleep in a hoodie, you feel me? So like, like
Did that yesterday.
so like, sleeping in the hoodie, I'm like, man. And my homegirls used to always get on me about like not having silk pillows and shit, like fucking up my hair. I'm just like, man, like if niggas always. And that was another thing too. Like my homegirl, she worked with me and she did my hair, and she would watch me take my hoodies and shit off all the time. And she or like put it on. She'd be like, you fucking up the hair I just did. I'm like, I pay you. Like what you? She's like, but that's not the point. Like you fucking it up.
It's deeper than that.
Yeah. So I'm like I came up with I had that idea, and I'm like, damn, like, and that would kind of like fix my problem with like wearing my hoodie, with like having my hair like done and shit.
Yeah.
So it was just like a couple, like everything kind of like lined up, and then it was funny because starting off, I like ordered the first blank hoodie, like. Don't even think I knew, like, I had been pondering on the name for a minute, didn't even know what the, it was just a word I said, probably on some hot shit, and I'm like, nigga, that sound good. Like, for real, I'm like, nigga, that sound good. I might even, like, I told Daryl, like, I'm like, man, you know what? If I was to ever, like, start a streetwear brand or some shit, or just, like a streetwear brand, because everything kind of, like, streetwear level. I'm like, man, if I ever start a brand, I'd call that shit Illustrious. And he was just like, hey, that shit sound good. It do sound good. And that was like hellas ago. And then like I like ordered all the shit, and I like started trying to sew the hood myself, and like did not get far. Like I'm decent with a sewing machine, but like not cutting so like fire. And I like had a homegirl that I was working with at the time at a fucking Avalon Exchange out in the Loop.
Okay.
And she went to school for I don't know what the technical term for it is, but she's like
Textiles.
textiles and shit. So she's like crazy with the sewing machine, like real seamstress shit. So me and her was at work one day, and I was just like, hey, I like had enough of like struggling, and I like wanted this shit done, and I'm like, you know what, like nigga, like I done been in like the clothes industry enough. I'm like, yo, like if you need something done, nigga, just like outsource it, like just like pay people, like that's what they there for. Like don't be that nigga that don't want to pay nobody to like have something done the right way. Like I could have easily like glued this shit in the hood or like some bullshit, but like I say, being around the block long enough, I'm like, nigga, that's not me. Like nigga, I'm not going. Like I ain't never been that nigga. So I like was at work. I'm like, yo, you think you think you'd be able to sew like a silk lining in a hoodie? She's like, what you mean? I'm just like, literally just like, where this shit is fuzzy at? I'm like, she's like, oh yeah. I'm like, bet, like next day, like brought her the joint, like paid her. I'm like, just let me know when you get it done. She like hit me up like 2 days later. She's like, it's done. She brought it in. I'm like, oh yeah, we finna turn up. Like no cap. I was like, I don't know what you got going on. Like shout out to her, cause Alana, she got her shit going on. Now I don't really know like how far along in the process she is, but I was just like, yo, like even when I left there, I think I quit Avalon like 2 or 3 fucking times. But like even when I left there, I made sure like that last time I left, I like
it's the last
we
time.
locked in. Like I can't like I need you at this point. Like I'm sure if I wanted to like go digging around and shit, I could find somebody else to do it. But it was just the fact that like I'm like, yo, you young, black, and like really fuck with this shit. Like this shit is like like you really do this shit. Like I'm kind of like, you feel me? Like I'm not on the same shit as you, but like I fit the bill. Like I'm young, black, and like really doing this shit. Like I'm trying like keep as many motherfuckers like that come from the same bill that I come from, like in this shit. You feel me? Like that's not to say it's kind of funny because I felt kind of bad where I was like thinking about it, but I'm like, man, like I work with enough white people on plenty of shit. Like it ain't like nothing against them, but it's just like, bro, like yeah, like y'all niggas been alright, but like at the same time, like I say, if I can like keep somebody like that's in the game, like that look like yo, like let's go, and that was really tight when I realized that my first hoodie all the way from like my nigga Cam, he did the digitizing and like the graphic work for me for like the logo. The only thing that was like really outsourced that wasn't from like somebody local and black was the digitizing, and like that's because like I was like on some like working fast type shit. I'm really like, I'm sure if
need to get it done.
Yeah, like I could have like dug around and like found somebody, but like that was like the one thing that I was just like, yo, like it's not that I don't trust nobody, that it's like I did enough research that if this month, like if this place gonna do it fire, like that's what I'm gonna do. Because matter of fact, like I just took that same file to like my new embroiderer, and he was like, who did this? And I was just like, somebody out of town. He was like, bro, this file is crazy. I was like, I appreciate it. Like I like he like even the nigga at the fucking embroidery place, he got boxes, all kind of like local brands and shit, like getting they shit embroidered there and screen printed there. He was like, oh, it's like he go through my file and shit and then bust the box open and like see what I got. He like, oh shit, like literally like that was his first word out of his mouth. He's like, oh shit. And I'm like, I didn't really say nothing. He was like, this is like really nice. I'm like, I appreciate it. I was like, I didn't cut any corners. Like you just said the file. You was like, you just said the file was like nice. He made like 2 to 3 like minor adjustments that like really made a huge difference. Shout out to that nigga. But it was like, he's like, bro, I hardly mess with it at all. Yeah, he's like, I hardly mess with it at all. Like, put it on the machine, pearled it out. He was like, bro, like this is like really good. And I was like, I appreciate it, bro. I'm like I said, this nigga see all kind of shit. Like that's where like I'm like I talk a lot of shit, but like on a humble thing, like I don't know. It's kind of weird. I always been like kind of like downplay myself sometimes, you know, like for as like often as I big myself up, like I'm often like niggas own worst critic, you feel me? Like, and that just come from like, I don't know, it's like not really like being a pessimist, but like I don't ever really get my hopes up. Like niggas, like I don't like to be let down, you feel me? So like when niggas like finally like was letting people on the street see it and whatnot, I was just like, okay, everybody reaction was like the same. Like niggas like, what the fuck is this? Oh, this is dope. And then like had the first round of the drop go out, and everybody was like, dog, like this shit is nuts.
Shit
like
sold
this,
out.
yeah, like this shit is like the quality is nuts. And I'm just like, bro, like
I went to go look, sold out.
bro, I like that was my thing, bro. Like I couldn't have it no other way. Like niggas was like, man, you don't really do this shit. I had so many questions about the price point and like all this other shit. I'm like, look, bro. Like I said,
You know what you put. You know what you put into it.
yeah, like being in streetwear and shit. Like I know how the production shit work. Like nigga, like a retail business model is nigga like production times 2. Like however the fuck it costs you to make that shit. It's like to make your money back, you double the price. You feel me?
Yep.
So like that's why like a lot of people be pressed about the price points or some shit, but they don't ever really like they don't know nor look into like the production side of shit. It's definitely places and brands that are overcharging for bullshit. Like that's for sure. Like don't get me wrong. Like at the end of the day, a lot of this shit is like, you know, like it just is what it is as far as the price go. But like it's a lot of shit that like niggas like a V-long shirt is like, we was talking about gilding and shit earlier. Like nigga, screen printing don't cost that much, especially 1 or 2 color screen prints on a fucking $5 blank. That shit should be.
Hey, dog.
That shit should be $40, bro.
We gonna end it right there, dog. That shit should be $40, bro.
Like, you know what? $40.
$40.
And it's like, you know, like not to knock the resale community or whatever, because like them niggas, like I say, we call this shit get it how you live, because like if that's how you pay your bills and like make sure shit shake is by buying shit for the low and reselling it for the high, like get it that way. But as far as retail go, it's like it's only like it's certain shit that's like justifiable and it's shit that's not justifiable, and then like being around the block enough, like you know like what's what and who's doing what, and it's like brilliant minds like Sean, like that nigga, like I can break down production costs and shit in my head. Like that nigga shit is like that's what you should be charging for your shit. Like my nigga is definitely getting what he's worth right now. Like his nigga shit is finna go crazy. Like I done seen it. Like you know what's crazy? It's thinking about like all the shit like niggas done been through. Like Sean used to be my roommate with me and Golden. Like I seen like he been doing his like cozy interview shit on Instagram, and I was watching one the other day, and I was just like, I'm like, damn, like niggas real life done ran it up since like being crammed in that apartment on the south side. Like niggas done really made some shit happen. But like that's like I don't think even Daryl with Bridge Boy, like that nigga shit, like production, like that shit is all justifiable. Like it's like it's so many people out here. Like when I see that, I've been seeing it a lot lately. I don't know why, but when people be like, keep that same energy y'all go in them designer stores with like your people, like nigga, that's real shit, because you want to talk about some shit that's not justifiable, like outside of leather goods and denim. That shit is,
I think we're actually
exorbitantly overpriced. Oh shit. How long we gotta stop in?
We coming up on 2 hours.
Oh shit, it can't be that long.
I mean, it's up to whenever y'all. I mean, you said. I mean, I'm just saying the quality.
Get it how you live.
Like,
We see that.
Nah, it's just how you be uploading and shit. It's like certain megabits and shit. If it get past
I can't
a
break it
certain
into
time.
2.
We got 9 seconds.
Nah, it don't matter.
Titties.
Titties for real.
No, we good. We good.
I feel like I should say Happy New Year.
Yeah. Happy New Year.
Y'all want me to stop?
Yeah.
Or shit, closing remarks.
What you gotta say? I guess I give a few closing remarks, but yeah, like just to close that shit out, man. Like, niggas like really been like working hard and carving out a lane for a minute now. Like it's tight that like everybody that really fuck with me, like a lot of people always was waiting for me to like make some shit happen. Like when I started DJing, motherfuckers was like really happy about it, and then like when I started to close shit, people like expected that and like really fucking with it. So it's just like
Do you have something after that? Like you about to triple threat us?
after close, man, I probably get really into like the production shit, or like I wanna do some other shit. You know, like that's my thing. Is like I like so many different things that like once it's a fun thing. Once I run up my own bag or get somebody else like one of them club people to front me a bag to do whatever the fuck I want to do, then like that's when the next joint will come out. But like right now, I'm just like really having fun with the shit and like just running it up, making it happen the best way I can, despite the odds.
Yeah. That's what we doing.
Yeah. Getting how I live.
Yeah. Look, that for real might be a tattoo. Shit.
And on that note, y'all have a good ass Halloween. I hope you guys have a good Halloween.
Oh yeah, happy
So,
Halloween.
Yeah, man.
when y'all hear this, I hope y'all Halloween went great.
Shout out to all my people. Shout out my brothers, man. Golden, Daryl, Rico, Pickle.
Shout out to Squad.
Yeah.